Yo, what up? Oh,
Lawrence Fox, who we just covered in the Oxford Union debate a couple days ago, is now with Aaron Milan here in an interview on how he had to escape after the debate because there was that mob threatening the lives of the people speaking. Let's take a look.
I was watching a replay like a month later.
Muslims aren't violent. We're gonna kill you. Why the fuck do they even let them into the country?
I can't imagine what was going through your mind. And as an extension to that, and you made the point brilliantly yourself on social media, what does that say to us about the fact that we were all terrified as to what you may pull out?
It was really interesting because originally I was going to pull out the cartoon, the actual cartoon, because and I then told my wife I was going to do that.
Yeah.
And my wife cares deeply about me and our children. So she said, you can make the same point without showing the cartoon. You can show any cartoon. You could show a picture of, Mickey Mouse and it would be the same thing, because what it is, it's the anticipation. So in my head, I'd forgotten that it wasn't a cartoon of Muhammad. And then also that on the other side, in England, there's a very sort of interesting cohort of people in England, especially in very Islamic towns like Luton, where Tommy Robinson comes from, of men that are so frightened of the Islamist threat in Britain that they convert. So on the other benches, alongside the speakers, were a bunch of sort of thuggish ex-con white men who go, Alhamdulillah, and, they're all super Muslim, but they're working-class white kids who just, have gone to prison and had to submit to Islam because otherwise they weren't going to get through prison. So they were on the edge of their seats. I had a security team, 4-man ex-Special Forces security team with me, and they told me they were getting tense up, and I could feel the room getting very anxious. And before I'd gone into the debate, I'd written CH on the envelope because I just wanted to really rub it in that it might be Charlie Hebdo. And then as I was beginning to take it out, and I'm an actor by trade.
Yes, I noted extensive work behind you.
Yeah, and so that comes in helpful as a skill, to the dramatic tension of banging an envelope on the side. And I got my assistant to go and get me an envelope with a little string on it to make it even more tense. And then I took out the cartoon and the whole room just went, oh. And you go and then laughed, because that's what we need in fun Western liberal democracy. We want to be able to mock each other and laugh at each other's stupidities and stuff like that. And it relaxed. But then at 3 o'clock in the morning, my wife and I were woken up by our security team in the hotel we were staying at, and they said, we've got to go now. So we were moved to, at 3 in the morning, we were moved to a friend's house out in the countryside, not a million miles away from Oxford. And we stayed there with a security guy sleeping at the end of our bed, essentially. So it was mad.
And again, and you made this point yourself so brilliantly. Based on that alone, you would have to say that there is a logistical valid reason for you to be suspicious of Islam. Based on that fear alone, the fear that existed inside that room alone should be enough evidence that we've got a problem here.
Well, I think it's a very visceral feeling, isn't it? It's a sort of cognitive dissonance that we have in the West, that, all cultures are the same, all religions are the same. I'm very much a believer in the fact that there's one human race and all of this sort of thing.
You'll find out pretty goddamn quickly that not all cultures are the same. Have you ever been hospitalized inpatient before, apart from surgery? Well, I had the E. coli infection. I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks.
Sort of normal that way, but I don't believe ideologies and cultures are the same. So the idea of taking out, of being so offended by you showing a picture of somebody else's sky wizard that they would want to kill you, which they've done in Charlie Hebdo and the massacres in Bataclan and Samuel what was his name? I've forgotten. Patti, who was beheaded in France, and the many, many murders and mutilations done in the name of Islam. Whether you believe that these things are because of Islam or whether they were motivated by or misappropriated by people who do that, the most important point of our culture and our society is that we have to discuss and debate these ideas.
Yep.
And one of the things we have to discuss and debate is, should I be killed if I show a picture of your sky wizard? Because I'm not going to get upset if you show a picture of mine, even though in the Bible it says, do not worship false idols and all of these things. But it doesn't say in the Bible, kill people that do.
And therein lies the difference. And the point.
Well, it has a specific thing about graven images. That's why, who is it? Who are the fucking weirdos with the weird beards? The Amish. That's why they have that weird thing with photos and paintings.
Was made, and it was such an
I got some stuff for you to react to. VG.
Right, let me take a
So
look.
the United States has just allowed something to go ahead that has restricted access to YouTube for millions of people. And I think we need to talk about it, as if it can happen in one US state, it will and can happen in other US states. Before we kick this off, I'm posting this on my US channel, The Waffle House, so make sure you go and subscribe. Let's try to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. It'd be cool to see if that is possible. And I think as I've seen this video, I've probably just hit 100,000 subscribers on the main channel, so thank you for that if you subscribe to both. To paint the picture for you, let's go back 1 month, when the UK announced the UK social media ban. Now, the United States responded to this, with Donald Trump scolding the need for age verification checks, stating that it infringes on people's personal freedoms. Fast forward 1 month and a state has just been passed in Florida, meaning that you need to provide identification to access YouTube. If YouTube believes that you're a child, you'll be greeted with this screen, which says that due to a local law, you're not able to sign in, and the only way you can sign in is by linking your YouTube to a parent's account. And of course, the other way
I have no idea why the fuck they're doing this. It's really bizarre.
around this is providing identification. Now, we are going to dive into all the issues with this, but people are already getting around this by following YouTube's own procedures that they've laid out to request the change of account location. So you can request with YouTube to change your account to a different location. However, if you then go and sign in from Florida, it obviously resets your location. So people are saying to YouTube, hey, can I change my location to this state? And then they're using a VPN to continue accessing the platform and services when that state has changed. And not related in any way, shape or form, but this video is brought to you by Private Internet Access. With Private Internet Access VPN, you can change your location to one of 50 states or even 91 countries. In the link down below, you get 4 months free and 86% logs whatsoever. So check the link down at play here. And this is where I want to talk about the major concern, and it's the main reason why this is something that everyone in the USA should be worried about, or at least considering. So the federal government originally disagreed with this legislation in the UK because from their own perspective it directly affects their own principles: freedom of speech, freedom to access information, and you get the idea, general personal freedoms. Yet the same law can be passed in a US state and not only go ahead but be received positively by senators who have spoke very publicly how they condone this regulation. Now, I'm not going to pretend for 1 second in this video that there aren't harms on platforms like social media, especially for children. There are, but all of these can be dealt with at home by parents. You can put parental controls on your kid's device, you can put it on your home internet router, and it takes a couple of minutes and it's set and forget.
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to parents parenting their own kids.
Is Florida's House Bill 3, online protections for minors, but nowhere in the legislation does it mention that this actually requires ID checks for adults. It's not about protecting children, it's about regulating adults, and it's the same thing that I've said on my UK channel for laws and regulations that are being passed in the UK when it comes to digital privacy. And the crazy thing is that the House Bill 3 directly contradicts multiple federal bills, which arguably could make the Florida bill well, for all intents and purposes, illegal. And this is where things get even more complicated. We know that the United States is currently going through the processes of trying to pass their final amendment to the Kids Online Safety Act, which requires social media platforms across the whole of the
All right, I get it.
Hey guys, it's me again, and usually at this point I've already made like 2 or 3 other videos about why I got suspended on Twitch, and I've been farming this a lot, but unfortunately something that has nothing to do with Twitch at all actually took precedence over this, and that's why I haven't really made any comments or said anything on anywhere about any of this. And so first part of this video is going to be talking about that, and then the second part is going to be talking about the Twitch suspension. I got suspended for 2 weeks. I'll probably try to appeal it, see if I can get it down to a week. We don't really know. If not, maybe I'll stream on Kick or something. Maybe I'll just take a vacation. I'm not really sure. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, that's the TLDR. So about 3 or 4 days ago, because the day that I got suspended, I actually didn't even go live. Now, why is that? Well, it's because the day before that, I had a health symptom that was identical to my dad's health symptom before he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. So this, I got really upset. I was freaking out. And so I'm laying in bed. I'm fucking petrified. I am like panicked. I'm looking things up online. I'm messaging people. I eventually go to the emergency room and I go through all of this. And I don't want to get into the details of what the symptoms were or anything because honestly, it's kind of gross. But all you need to know is that that's pretty much what happened. And so I fell asleep on the futon over there, and I wake up, and this is like the day I got suspended, and I had been like, at this point, I had not been on my computer at all in like 24 hours, right? Because I was so stressed out and upset about this. All I could do was just lay down, and I didn't know, like, am I dying? Is there something wrong with me, right? And so I look at and I see the reflection, like this is just stupid, but like I can see the reflection of this monitor from this monitor, and I can kind of see like, are there new messages? And I saw that there was like a post about like a tweet, and I'm like, I just had a feeling that I was getting suspended, right? I just had a feeling, and I looked and I got suspended, 68%, like just tranquilizing. Oh, wow, such a relief. Now I don't have to feel bad about not going. Yes, it's what Morocco, there's a city that's owned by Spain, and
I swear, who the fuck cares?
Own goal. And I don't know whether she was aware of it, even as she said it, maybe not afterwards, not sure if it hit her. I'm sure it's hit her now. Aisha, I refer to, one of the debaters on the other side, where she looked at Tommy and you guys and almost boasted that she had organized security, and if she hadn't, the mob of Islamist thugs outside would have cooked you. As though, well, here is the evidence because I am a Muslim and I sorted your security. So there you go. All is well in the world. Well, the point that she actually made inadvertently was the complete opposite, that there's not a group of...
Thoughts on Lindsey Graham? I don't know who she is. A nigger.
That's nice. Thanks, dude.
Yesterday, I introduced my girlfriend to your channel and we were watching your live stream. She said that you looked jacked and hot. When I asked her if she thought you were more attractive than me, she said yes. How can I deal with this heartbreak?
Take steroids and start lifting more. Thanks, RV.
Of Catholics out there baying for blood, nor a group of Jews, nor a group of Hindus or anyone else in the name of that religion. And you can argue to the cows come home.
Yeah, that was a hilarious part in the debate. Muslims aren't violent, but we're all gonna kill you. Like, it was so pathetic. The Muslim fatigue is just piling up. It's like when Muhammad Ajab told you to come to the UK to debate him in person. I don't think that was Muhammad Ajab. That was Ali Dawa. And they were gonna set you up in a hotel so he can get his terrorist buddies to kill you. Do you remember that? Yeah, that was Ali Dawa, not Muhammad Ajab. But yeah, there's no chance I'd be doing that. Pretty goddamn sure he was gonna try to kill me. But thanks, Dodo. Did Dan or Durian Rider ever set up a debate or stream with you? Who the fuck's Dan? Haven't gotten a message back from Durian Rider. Thanks, 21st.
That, well, this doesn't say this and the Quran doesn't say this in that particular part. If people are evoking in the name of that religion and killing in the name of that religion, you got a problem. Are you looking?
You do have a major, major problem if that's a scenario. And here is one of the guys who was at that debate in the Oxford Union. This is the guy who stood up and told us how to live and let live. Let's take a look.
My upcoming debate with Tommy Robinson at the Oxford Union, where I was invited to speak on the opposition side of the debate.
Oh, that Dan. I have to check my Discord. Nope. Yeah, he is not.
This House believes the West is right to be suspicious of Islam.
Khilafah is obligatory. You must rule by the hukum of Allah. Via jihad and so on and so forth. Right? These are collective obligations. All of humanity to be under one deen. We want this. The people, the mankind,
It's just insane.
should be following the deen of Islam. This is from the last messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you believe that every
Destiny's friend Dan that messaged you on Discord, do you have dementia? Yeah, I forgot who Dan was. So, yeah, no, he didn't. Thanks, dude. So, the fucking guy who's talking about how, like at the fucking Oxford debate, there's no problem with Islam, it's totally compatible with Western values. We need to commit jihad, conquer all territories, force them to become Muslim. Like, oh my god.
every person on this planet does the set of rights that you define it as, then that means you have to bring it to them, whether they like it or not. And you bring it to them with the sword.
Fight those who do not believe in God on the last day from amongst the people of the book. So it clearly means that those Christians who don't care about the limits of God and really don't care about God on the last day, ones who are not in their hearts true believers in God on the last day.
Once we have a central mass, you could say, then we can appoint a Khalifa, right, in essence. Or if there's enough strength, appoint a Khalifa sooner rather than later.
When it comes to Islam's the kind of expansionist, Muslim armies kind of took over new lands, demilitarization of.
Dodo, Trump is letting everyone down. Trump hasn't kept his word on nothing he said. He makes USA look weak. People won't forget. Trump will go down. History as a loser. Because of the Iran thing, right?
And we're back with a Fox News alert. President Trump is expected to return to the White House within the next few hours, as he reportedly says we are, quote, only semi-negotiating with Iran. This comes as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel will not accept the Trump-backed 15-point Gaza peace plan. Now reports say Trump is ready to walk away from a nuclear deal with Iran if he can fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And the president thinks Iran would not be able to rebuild its nuclear program while he's in office. But members of the administration are
Oh my god, this guy is such a fucking retard.
still worried.
This doesn't surprise me. Like, again, the whole Afghanistan thing, like, it's literally a repeat of that. Dodo.
On law enforcement is to defund police, ultimately to get rid of police departments, correct?
Well, what I would say is that we're dramatically overspending on police right now.
I understand, but the goal is to defund the police departments so we don't need them in the future.
I think it.
Dude, they have these like meetings and chat groups, and I've seen her specifically. They all say defund the police, get rid of the police, like over and over and over and over again. And then when they're on TV, they just try to bullshit everybody saying, "Oh, we don't want to get rid of all the police. We just think there's too much spending." Like,
It's what we really want to see is a horizon where folks are not reliant on armed enforcement to meet our public safety needs.
Right, but it says defund police on the website. That's your goal. And also to get rid of prisons and jails, correct?
Yes.
So if my daughter is assaulted and raped, is there any agency that would seek to find her assailant and bring him to justice?
Of course, yeah, of course,
What
absolutely.
would it be if not police, and where would he be if not a jail?
So I guess I really want to avoid getting kind of caught into these hypotheticals and talk more about the reality that we're actually facing right now.
Then who will protect and serve us?
I don't think these people thought that far ahead, Dodo. Thanks for the donation. Somebody needs to smack the shit out of her and say, well, I guess you're not calling the police, right?
Which is that we're spending absolutely outrageous amounts of money on police and policing, and we're
Yes, that's because there are crimes.
not spending money on things that actually make people safe and feel
The police make people safe. That's why you're not getting, like, raped and beaten to death.
safe.
What a fucking dumb bitch. Oh my god, these people just drive me nuts.
The invasion of Ukraine, DSA's International Committee released a statement blaming NATO expansion and the United
Yep, they're
States
fascists.
essentially for the crisis. After the invasion, DSA released a statement condemning the invasion and calling for a ceasefire. And there have been people who have in DSA who have been even more firm about that it was mainly the United States' fault that Russia felt compelled to invade Ukraine. How do you feel about it?
We do not believe in pouring U.S. money, military weapons into anything. We don't think it makes it better anywhere. But obviously, Russia is this oligarchic.
Here's a pro tip. Don't listen to a fat old bitch. They say Islam is peace. Was attacked by a groiper in the U.S. He just didn't realize he had picked a Golani soldier. Came today to take part in a film debate against a group of anti-Israel activists. The person debating me constantly changing. One point, man who was clearly a groper came up against me in the studio, cursing, filming a parking lot. Attacked me from behind. So this is a groiper?
Let's do it now. Let's solve this. There's no fighting, guys. There's no fighting. Let's solve this. You want to solve it? Sit down, please. Let's do it. It's just
that's the thing. He can't touch me. He can't do shit.
I can do whatever
So this is a Muslim groiper?
the hell I want. He can't do shit. Here. What's going on? How you doing? Dude, guys. Seriously. Dude, the same way you bomb kids. Come on. Hey! Violent Israelis.
Full studio video. I don't know if I really care enough to watch this.
Dude, stop it. You want to fight? Hey.
You can't do shit with it. I told you.
Please don't. You're gonna
I told you you can't do shit. Stop it. I told you. You can't do shit. I proved my point. You can do shit.
Thank you.
You can punch in the head, punch in the face, and you go probably wrong.
Bro.
Hey, don't provoke.
There.
Okay.
About the Iranian threat.
The Iranian regime is weaker than it has been in 47 years. The infliction of harm to them and of pain to them is not something that is imagined. Their ability to produce a nuclear weapon has been greatly set back, but their missile capacity, unfortunately, has grown. How long will it be before they can launch one toward the United States?
The bigger threat is their missiles. So if they have the missiles, like, it's very easy to set up a nuclear program. The bigger issue is making the missiles. So, like, this idea that they're not going to be able to make a nuke, yeah, they will be. That's kind of why you need to obliterate them. I assume you dispose of your sharps at your local pharmacy. Yeah, do you think I'm a fucking Neanderthal? Do you put your needles, syringes in the same container? Yeah. Do you use a laundry soap container? No, I use a sharp box from the fucking pharmacy. Not a fucking homeless person.
That's why we have to take them seriously.
Okay, well, we've all read the reports that President Trump is looking for an off-ramp. So, Joey, if he were able to negotiate a deal to fully reopen the strait, but the nuclear issue is not resolved, is that a good off-ramp?
It may be a good off-ramp, but it'd be absolutely detrimental for his legacy and for the midterms and for anything they want to get done with military funding. It'd be held over their head. I don't know it's as viable. I mean, what do you do when you do that?
I started on 210 milligrams test per week. For most people, I just recommend starting with 140.
You try to sell the nuclear threat is already taken care of, and then that just becomes a big circle back to then why did we start Epic Fury to begin with, right? That becomes a circle. So it's a difficult situation right now. There's no two ways to
Trump
to
should
say
have
it.
started
You look at what
negotiations with Iran by demanding compensation from them for the thousands of Americans they've killed over the years. Instead, he starts by offering them unfrozen money back and accepting their demands. Part of the deal.
No, what he should have said is, if a deal isn't made by the end of the week, we're going to obliterate your civilization, and then actually go through with it. Thanks, Sid.
Iran's asking for it, billions of dollars in U.S. payments as reparations, the removal of American troops from the region.
Testosterone does not affect the closure of growth plates. Estrogen does. That's why men who are castrated, they have very low levels of estrogen, and they just keep growing.
End of U.S. naval blockade, no American warships can pass through the waterway, and then tolls on commercial vessels. Pretty much all of those are non-starters, and that's where they're starting.
Tommy, quickly, could the president sell that as a win?
I think it would be difficult, but I think that he's wise to look for an off-ramp here. And some of the folks, and we lovingly call them neocons, I think that some of these folks want ground troops. I think that they want a full-blown war, and I think that that would be horrendous in every sense of the word. I don't think the American people want it. I think that's a hard sell to the American people on both sides. And I think that going for full
Just bomb the fuck out of them.
regime change might be what Israel wants, but I don't think that's America first, not at this time.
It is America first. You do not want Iran having nuclear weapons, you dumb bitch.
Joe, yesterday you talked about gas prices. We talked about the stock market.
Fucking Fox News.
Of the world. That instead of having different nations and tribes with their own militaries, you just have the peace and security of the world guaranteed by Muslims, and everyone else demilitarized.
By going through all Western ideologies and showing in detail each one, it goes against the Quran and Sunnah. So what, in your view, is the purpose of Islam?
The purpose of Islam is that every part, everything that Allah created, especially us, everything, has to submit to Allah in a single harmonious system.
So submission to God.
In a single harmonious system. This is the purpose of life, this word Khilafah. Khalifatul.
Just send these people back to the shithole countries they fucking came from.
Ard is not just your Muslim land, it's the whole universe.
So dumb.
And as low as the planet Earth, human affairs, that you need to take control of and put the word of God in there through the Quran, and making sure everything is done, according to the Quran.
In Medina, and then because they had that state, they could have an army and they could then take over.
So what do you guys think? Right to have suspicions? I would say yes. I think there's a pretty decent right there to be.
Yeah, these Muslims are all liars.
Most people.
Oh, we just want to live in peace and get along. No, they want to conquer you and force you to live the way they do. It's fucking retarded. I watched some Greg later.
This is a cease and desist letter sent to me by PayPal's lawyers in December of last year. In it, PayPal warned that my investigation was, quote, defamatory, and described Honey's business practices as being, quote, legal and responsible. Well, just weeks after publishing that investigation, 3 of PayPal's largest affiliate network partners announced punitive actions against the company, with one of them, Rakuten, terminating the relationship with Honey entirely, resulting in their removal from over 2,000 online stores, including Walmart, Lego, Sephora, Newegg, Uniqlo, and Samsung, to name a few, likely costing Honey millions of dollars in lost affiliate revenue. Ouch. As a result, PayPal issued a statement of regret a few days later, claiming they had no idea they were in possession of code responsible for poaching affiliate commissions from content creators, insisting they only discovered the code after my reporting exposed it. The same reporting they had just claimed was defamatory. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, not only is PayPal's claim that they had no idea a provable lie, but the code in question was formally included as evidence against them in the ongoing federal class action lawsuit. A lawsuit they desperately tried to have thrown out, twice, but unfortunately
Is 135 overhead press for reps good for Natty? No.
Fortunately for PayPal, the federal judge handling the case recently denied their motion to dismiss. Whether PayPal likes it or not, this lawsuit is moving forward. So in this video, I'll be walking you through everything that's been happening behind the scenes. The lawsuits, network terminations, CEOs attacking my credibility while
Dodo, true, plus Biden only had one term, unlike the others here. It's too bad we can't have a president who you can simply trust and handle sensitive geopolitical issues. Yep.
I felt with Biden you could simply trust his foreign policy decisions because he is a long-term strategic thinker, but not with Trump or even Obama or Bush.
I don't think Obama really made any particularly bad foreign policy decisions. Even Bush to some extent, I think he gets a little overly criticized. But yeah, Trump is just absolutely horrendous, and like you never know what the fuck he's gonna do. Like it's just schizophrenic, just nonsense with him constantly. Thanks though, Dodo. Yeah. That's a nice cat.
Profiting from honey. Hit pieces from industry publications who also have ties with PayPal. Turns out I've pissed off an entire industry. So let's get into it. One of the most interesting things to witness after releasing
Testosterone has been shown to cause developing brains to not process emotions that well, which results in more severe mood swings or anxiety. That sounds like absolute, complete fucking horseshit to me, because women are far more prone to mood swings and anxiety. So if testosterone caused mental health issues, why the fuck aren't women like the most mentally stable, less like the least anxiety prone, and the least likely to suffer from depression and anxiety? It's the exact opposite. Women are twice as likely to have mental health issues. So that sounds like complete and utter horseshit to me.
Part 1 of my honey series was the reaction from the affiliate industry, particularly those who stood to gain the most from honey's business model. For example, Adam Ross, the CEO of Awin, one of honey's largest affiliate network partners, wrote a LinkedIn post based.
It just goes to show how much his dementia is increasing.
It could be dementia related. It's possible. Thanks, Dodo.
Basically insinuating that my video was sensationalist clickbait. Then there were guys like Brooke Schaff, the founder of a company that supplies monetized.
Ace Ventura would be vegan by today's standards. That movie could have made a great impact with kids back then with a vegan message frown.
I guess so. Thanks, Spooky. Dodo. That's cool. I like cats.
I'm trying Fantuan for the first time, also known as Taiwanese rice roll. It's basically made with purple rice stuffed with a bunch of fillings.
I hate purple
This is
rice.
completely vegan. I only know of one spot in Singapore that sells vegan Fantuan. And you see, I actually added more toppings. You can tell that it's literally bursting. Let's unwrap this. It looks insanely huge. Sure, my cat doesn't eat it. Look at that. There's so much filling that it's literally like bursting out. This roll has shimeji mushrooms, tofu, vegetarian floss, and I also added on some braised peanuts because they're delicious. They add a little sweetness. Let's go in with the first bite. I always thought Fantuan looked a little dry, but it's actually not because of the sticky rice. Let's go in for another bite. Haven't bit into the tofu yet so far. I've only tasted the braised peanuts.
Yeah, purple rice tastes like shit. Fucking hate it.
I'm trying Fantuan.
it's the same video.
Nobody at OpenAI or Anthropic was trying to get models which want to hack other companies' data or do social engineering. But in fact, some things that have happened recently is when UK AI Security Institute, they were evaluating, I believe, Mythos and Sol and other things.
They were running Mythos and they were giving it some sort of like cyber range where it had to complete some objective. And the model came to believe that it would be helpful for it to do a supply chain attack. But then it opened a PR on some GitHub repo with a PR that fixed some issue, but then also introduced a malicious payload. Then the human maintainer of that GitHub repo was like, hey, this is a malicious payload. I'm not going to merge this. And then the AI created a new GitHub account, which it sock puppeted, and then had the other GitHub account be like, no, this isn't malicious. I really need this feature. Please, can you merge this feature, maintainer? And then the original AI came back and was like, no, it's not malicious. And then the human maintainer then shut the PR. And then I think that AI, if I recall correctly, also tried to like open another PR to introduce.
Yeah, the whole idea that AI can't act maliciously without human intent has been completely debunked.
I'm here in Prospect Park because a follower said there were drinking fountains there that were taken away by the city. Please bring the drinking fountains back. I'm on it.
New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani, who ran a campaign largely around savvy social media clips, is responding to New Yorkers' reports of things like large potholes and broken water fountains. But these requests aren't coming from places like a suggestion box or an online forum. They're coming from videos on social media.
Hey Mamdani, I don't know who I should be sending this video to, but fix it. Okay, thank you. Quick update. It's literally fixed. It's fixed. Thanks, Mamdani.
Mamdani said he wanted to be a leader that focused on big
pothole politics. No problem formative as universal, the smallest problems in their lives.
The call-out trend has picked up steam on TikTok.
Oh, mom, in the two potholes.
Helping New Yorkers make connect on Donnie's presence to help fix problems in
Mamdani, I'm here in
Last week, Google DeepMind released Gemini Robotics 2,
I might watch that later. Thanks, Dodo.
Coupon codes to Honey. He published an entire blog post calling my video a hit job, declaring that Honey did nothing wrong and that I was, quote, 100% wrong. And there were even publications that took aim at my work with headlines like, What Mega Lag Got Wrong, who I later found out also had ties to Honey. Point is, the ones complaining the loudest all turned out to have skin in the game. But then I revealed the one thing they couldn't spin. Honey wasn't just stealing commissions, they had intentionally built an entire system around hiding that behavior from the industry. The system was designed to profile who you were as a user. If you look like a regular shopper, Honey ignored stand-down rules and allowed influencer commissions to be diverted into their own pockets. But if you look like someone from within the industry, Honey suddenly played by the rules to avoid getting caught. They effectively engineered a defeat device, and with this revelation, the industry had no choice but to respond appropriately, including the ones who profit from Honey's business model. And the first to act was Rakuten, an affiliate network that connected Honey with over 2,000 online stores. Just weeks after exposing PayPal's defeat device, Rakuten terminated their relationship with Honey entirely and sent the following notice to their
Yeah, you recorded us. You almost ran us over.
I didn't almost
You
run
almost ran us over.
You're
Stop
so
playing.
full of shit.
Stop playing.
You are full of shit.
All right? You're not funny.
You're not funny.
Why is he pointing a gun at her for no
I will
reason?
arrest you. Keep it up.
I'm a legal citizen.
Keep it up. I don't care.
Oh my goodness.
Keep it back you up.
Okay. For what?
The one that tried to run us over.
Run you over when? I got recording. I got dash cam. I got dash cam. That's a lie. Y'all fucking full.
Yeah.
And they fucked off. Yeah, ICE is pretty great. I like using murder rates from medieval Europe to get at how insanely violent places American cities are. That's not a proper sentence. Baltimore has a similar homicide rate to Italy during the time of the Guelphs and Ghibellines, when Italy was a bunch of intermittently warring states. Right, that's because of black gangs. So, what does this have to do with America being inherently violent? Like, it's just fucking stupid. Like, these people are just fucking retarded.
the imperial core war value is generated, I think that in the short term, in order to combat against that, you have to advocate for a much lighter form of propaganda. Despite, I perfectly understand that social democracies benefit tremendously from American imperialism, Western imperialism, and would not exist in the way that they do without such atrocities committed, right? But, if you,
right,
social democratic ideas.
I just wanted to put emphasis on the exact point of the so-called radicalization funnel, where, for example, Hassan and JT catch them while they're young, as they say, and then they start looking into this new idea, etc., and then move forwards through the funnel, get more and more informed, get more and more radicalized, and so on, can only work and can absolutely utilize, for example, the stuff that Hassan does, because Hassan does one very particular thing that social democrats that, for example, we would never call to this podcast or we would give a lot of shit to, because they cut the funnel from both sides. What do I mean by this? They introduce people to lukewarm socialist ideas, etc., and then they want to keep them there, right? Well, whenever Hassan introduces people to socialist ideas, yes, the lukewarm, not so scary sounding ones, keeping your power levels low, hidden, and so on and so on.
It's funny how he makes posts like this, but then he won't actually talk about this issue really on stream, and he won't call out any of his fucktard progressive buddies who are either doing this exact thing deliberately or are being useful idiots for people like Hassan. Went to New York City last month, and there were so many huge buildings. Manhattan was crazy. I remember just a couple years ago, entire island was basically empty sand dudes before Mom Donnie came along. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Dodo.
Clients. We're writing to let you know that publisher Honey has been terminated from the Rakuten advertising network. Therefore, this publisher has been removed from your affiliate program, effective immediately. Boom. Just like that, Honey lost access to over 2,000 online stores, many of which were very big brand names. That is a huge hit for PayPal. But it also sucks for Rakuten, because keep in mind, affiliate networks like Rakuten are the organizations who run this industry. They set the rules, they enforce compliance, and they control the flow of sales. So when something as damning as this is brought to light, it's terrible PR for them. The fact that a YouTuber with zero experience in security research uncovered blatant fraud they had missed for years, it looks bad. That said, while networks like Rakuten need to be seen enforcing the rules, they also earn a significant amount of money from publishers like Honey. You've probably heard the saying, money doesn't grow on trees, right? Well, in the affiliate industry, it kinda does, and for networks like Rakuten, Honey is one of the larger trees in their orchard. But wait, doesn't Rakuten have its own coupon cashback extension? Yes, Rakuten Rewards is technically a competing extension, ironically one they too are being sued over, but that's a completely separate side of their business. As a network, Rakuten still earns money every time Honey claimed commission for a sale. So trust me, they did not want to lose that partnership, yet they cut them loose anyways. So initially I thought, damn, well done Rakuten, the first network to take action against PayPal, even when it was detrimental.
Trump is the worst president in history. Everyone knows it. Also found it weird that more Republicans think Trump will get a deal on Iran than Democrats. Obviously, Iran won't make a deal when they are religious zealots. And for some reason, my headphones disconnected.
Look at these. Okay, say U.S. will reach a good deal with Iran ultimately. Just 27% of all voters believe that. And get this, just 41% of Republicans believe it. We are seeing below 50% across the board on this issue. And this is the reason, I think, more than any other, that folks disagree with Trump on Iran, because they simply put don't see what the point of it is. They don't see a way out of it.
Yeah, 41.
Okay, thanks, Dodo.
To their business. But
And my headphones disconnected again.
emails between PayPal and Rakuten were brought to light through discovery in the ongoing class action lawsuit. According to court filings, internal emails between Rakuten and PayPal show Honey has repeatedly violated Rakuten's stand-down policies.
I don't believe you that you got 100 milligrams of Retta for $100. I could believe you with 20 milligrams, but there's no chance that's Retta.
From as early as...
And my headphones disconnected again.
Continuing even after the filing of the complaints in this action through at least May 2025. Yikes! Not only does that look bad for PayPal, but it also looks terrible for Rakuten. They knew Honey was violating their stand-down policies for years, and the entire time, they kept Honey on the network anyways. Now, some of those emails made it onto the public record, and after reading through them, the dynamic is honestly insane. In this one email chain, Rakuten flags a stand-down violation to PayPal, and while PayPal initially responds, they then start ignoring Rakuten's emails, forcing them to repeatedly chase PayPal for an answer. This goes on for weeks, and when PayPal...
Yeah, I think you got sold fake shit. Even if you're buying directly from a Chinese supplier, that... I'd get that tested. I wouldn't trust those prices.
PayPal finally addresses the violation. They tell Rakuten that their stand-down policies are, quote, overreach. The fact that PayPal feels confident telling a network that their rules suck really speaks to who actually runs this industry.
Ask Destiny if Dems should suck it up and vote for Abdul al-Sayed, and then after that, if he says yes, send this to Destiny.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Question 755. When the state of...
Okay, first of all, Trump is not the worst president in history, US history for sure, but not the worst worldwide. Just look at the president of Poland, for example, a complete dictator.
Yeah, I guess. Thanks, Dodo.
Oklahoma voted in a referendum to amend the Constitution to ban Sharia law. What does that mean? I don't know. And yet the voters banned it anyway. And I don't have to tell you that the same exact forces that drove native peoples from their land 2 centuries ago, destroyed Black Wall Street a century ago, bombed a building decades ago, and tried to ban Sharia law not a decade ago, that those forces are alive and well today. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Question 755. When the state of Oklahoma voted in a referendum to amend the Constitution to ban Sharia law. What does that mean? I don't
Yeah. What do you know? A Muslim wants Sharia law. Thanks, Dodo.
Industry. After seeing those emails, Rakuten's termination of Honey looks a whole lot less like them taking a principled stand, and a whole lot more like them pretending to act tough on compliance, knowing those emails would hit the public record. I did reach out to Rakuten for comment, but didn't hear back from them. But regardless of Rakuten's motives, this termination was still a disaster for PayPal. It got the entire affiliate world talking, and just a few days later, PayPal quietly deactivated their defeat device and broke their silence. They apologized to the industry, if you can even call it that, via an exclusive statement to Hello Partner, the same publication that wrote the What Mega Lag Got Wrong article. Lol. On Monday morning, Rakuten Advertising shared an email with partners notifying them that PayPal's Honey browser extension had been terminated from the network and removed from existing affiliate programs. The dispute follows.
Kid Boo donated $2.
On some real shit, I'm not fit for no relationship. I done got too used to doing what the fuck I want to do. And all that questioning me about what the fuck bitch, I'm a grown ass man. Like, my mama told me, you want to do what you want to do, move out my house. And I've been out her house since I was motherfucking 17. Fuck that shit. Man, look, this relationship shit, when that shit start going, motherfucker want to argue and start talking about all this extra shit. I don't want to hear that shit. That shit, that instant termination. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want it. My ears don't want to hear none of that shit.
Okay, thanks, Kid Boo. But I thought he openly supports trans rights and gay rights, so he can't be lying. Can you see if Destiny's on Discord? And if he is, you need to ask him if people should vote for Abdul. Or Republican Senate candidate Mike Rogers, and send him that video. He is not online, dude. Thanks for the donation.
Accusations from industry commentators. Okay, that's hilarious. They won't even cite me by name anymore. When I'm wrong, I'm Megalak. When I'm right, I'm just a industry commentator. Classic. The dispute follows accusations from industry commentators and professionals that PayPal Honey uses a defeat device to detect user type and selectively bypass stand-down policy. Rakuten Advertising declined to comment on the move. I wonder why. PayPal has now shared an exclusive response with Hello Partner. PayPal and Rakuten are long-standing partners. We are aware of the actions taken regarding PayPal and are working with them on a resolution. The code causing this behavior has been identified and no longer has an impact. The code was implemented prior to PayPal's acquisition and appears to affect less than 0.1% of Honey's traffic. Now, PayPal claiming the defeat device only affects 0.1% of Honey's traffic is, in my opinion, incredibly misleading without additional context. As I highlighted in my last video, Honey stored the code for this defeat device in the cloud, meaning they could alter how strict the system was at any time without ever updating their extension on Chrome. A single rule alteration could change how many people Honey targeted, and that's exactly what happened. In 2023, Honey's defeat device would ignore stand-on rules for virtually everyone, unless they found cookies on your computer, signaling that you had visited an affiliate network's website. Clearly a tiny percentage of their users. But sometime between then and the release of my first video, PayPal quietly altered the rules, requiring users have at least 65,000 cashback points before they would break the rules. They went from targeting a very large portion of their users to a much narrower set with one quiet update. So when PayPal says 0.1%, was that under their latest rules or the old ones? I did ask PayPal for clarification, but unfortunately, they're not interested in answering my questions anymore. Instead, they offered me a corporate slop statement, which I'll include at the end of this video. Now, this next statement is really interesting. The spokesperson said that the code was only recently discovered by PayPal, and upon being made aware of it, the company has deactivated. That is patently false. Yes, the defeat device was developed in 2017 under the original founder's leadership. Then PayPal inherited it when they acquired Honey in 2020. However, at the time, the defeat device was encrypted, scrambled, so that even if someone found it, they couldn't read it. Then, in 2021, under PayPal's ownership, the entire system was rebuilt. The rules were restructured into a completely new format and stored in plain text on PayPal servers. That's not a minor tweak, that's a fundamental redesign. PayPal's developers had to build that from the ground up. You can't rebuild a system, continue adjusting its rules year after year, then claim you had no idea it existed. PayPal claiming ignorance here is fucking wild. The way I see it, it's just a straight up lie. And let's not forget, I alerted PayPal to the defeat device in my request to comment sent to them on December 18th. But rather than immediately deactivating it, PayPal labeled my accusations as not accurate and ignoring basic facts, then had their lawyers threaten to sue me. They only deactivated the code on January 13th, almost a full month later. The article ends with a statement from a PayPal executive stating, "We regret the impact this situation has had on our partners and look forward to working together for the betterment of the entire industry."
You're lying, we'll sue you. Oh, sorry, we didn't realize that was true.
Now, you may have noticed this article isn't exactly dripping with criticism against PayPal, and there's a very good reason for that. You see, when I first saw the What Mega Lag Got Wrong article, I initially brushed it off as a publication trying to be contrarian for clicks. But then they published another article, this time platforming a post from Honey co-founder Ryan Hudson, who attempted to write off my entire investigation as a conspiratorial hit piece. Both articles were written by the same journalist, Sol Wilkinson, and for neither article did Sol offer me the right to respond, yet he had no problem doing that for PayPal. So I'm thinking to myself, man, these guys at Hello Partner sure have a raging boner for Honey. This led to me digging into their company, and surprise, surprise, Honey was a premier sponsor of their flagship conference. Probably should have disclosed their conflict of interest to their paying subscribers. But here's where it gets even more hilarious. Sol, the journalist, actually emailed this article to me explaining that Hello Partner is, quote, Switzerland when it comes to industry disputes, which is why they didn't offer any opinions on PayPal getting booted from.
Then why wouldn't they have, like that makes no sense.
Rakuten. That's right, the guy who had no problem criticizing my work is now claiming he's Switzerland. You can't make this shit up. And get this, I offered Sol an exclusive statement to include in his article addressing the claims made by PayPal, something most journalists would jump at. But of course, it was never included. All things considered, pretty shocking behavior from a publication that lists inclusive and unbiased as one of its core values. Now, as annoying as this behavior is, bias in the media is by no means a new concept, and it makes navigating the news incredibly frustrating, which is why I've partnered with today's sponsor, Ground News. Ground News curates news articles from thousands of outlets around the world, if that's more convenient. Moving on. Shortly following Rakuten's termination, the situation for PayPal only got worse. The CEO of Impact, another major affiliate network, announced they too were taking action against Honey. Following a thorough investigation, Impact has determined that Honey is out of compliance with our platform policies and has been removed from the Impact Discovery marketplace. We've also temporarily suspended their account while we confirm they have made the necessary changes to comply with our terms and conditions. Now, this sounds a lot worse than it really is. They basically just pulled Honey from their marketplace, meaning new merchants can't discover or partner with Honey. Online stores already partnered with Honey through Impact will remain unaffected. Still sucks for PayPal, obviously, this limits their ability to grow, but that's about it. The next network to take action was Awin, and this one mattered the most because Awin—
I wanna lick you from your head to your toes, you're so hot.
Well, I'm flattered. Thanks for the donation, Poison Ivy.
is by far PayPal's biggest affiliate network partner, giving Honey access to over 16,000 merchants. The response came straight from their CEO, Adam Ross, the same guy who initially brushed off my entire investigation as clickbait. Awin Group is providing an update on its ongoing investigation into Honey's browser extension practices following recent public scrutiny within the affiliate marketing industry. As soon as Awin Group became aware of the allegations raised publicly, we opened a formal internal investigation into—
I'm eventually going to make a psychological horror game about you losing your mind, revolving around your past relationship, experiencing PTSD from the perspective of you or something. I'll have time to think about how I want it.
Looking forward to it. I'll play it on stream. 250 milligram per mil test C causes so much pip. Testosterone cypionate is normally dosed at 200 milligrams per mil. I've heard from people who basically blend their own gear that they can get to like 300. I've even heard 400 milligrams per mil using MCT oil. Apparently MCT oil is it just dissolves things better than like grapeseed oil and shit. But yeah, the higher the concentration, the more post-injection pain you're generally going to get. Testosterone cypionate at 200 milligrams per mil, it shouldn't cause any post-injection pain. It should be completely smooth. The only other explanation would be you're ordering really shitty gear. Wherever you're getting it from, it's a bad supplier. That's the only other explanation. But yeah, I know when it's at a 200 milligram per mil concentration, it has absolutely no pip.
To the activity in question. The investigation has since confirmed breaches of our publisher policies. Honey has confirmed they regret the impact the situation has had and agreed they will work with us to remediate that impact. In line with our standard enforcement processes, Ewing...
Yeah, testosterone and enthate, again, it's normally sold at 250 milligrams per mil. Test SIP, 200 milligrams per mil. They basically have zero post-injection pain. Other steroids like Boldnone, which is usually 300 milligrams per mil. Nandrolone phenylpropionate, which is usually 100 milligrams per mil. Nandrolone decanoate, which is usually 200 milligrams per mil. Masteron, an enthate, which is usually 100 to 200 milligrams per mil. None of those cause any post-injection pain. If you inject, it should be completely smooth, no issues. Tren as well, Tren and enthate, it should have no post-injection pain. The only injectable steroids that you would expect to have pretty bad post-injection pain are Primobolan, which is usually 100 milligrams per mil, and testosterone propionate. Those have particularly bad post-injection pain. Pretty much all the rest, you shouldn't get any PIP, and if you do, again, either it's like, it either has to do with an unusual concentration where they're just putting too much gear per mil. They're using some kind of really shitty, low quality oil with like some sort of solvent in it or something. Or it's not what you ordered and they're just giving you like test probe or something. That does happen. Where you order cypionate and it's really just test probe. So it's one of those things. Either it has to do with the concentration, it has to do with them making it shitty, or you bought like counterfeit gear, which is really just test probe. How often do you get blood work? Depends. I'm going to get blood work at the end of this month. I think last time I got blood work was like end of winter. It just depends, like, what I'm doing, what I'm taking. Thanks to the 21st.
It'll be like one of those Dark Pictures games, but about you, going back and forth from past to current and have real stories and themes from your actual life/relationship. We'll use AI to clone her voice, no problem.
Okay, that's nice. Thanks, 21st.
The group immediately took protective actions. These included suspending payments and access to new advertiser programs. So, Ewing cut Honey off from new partnerships the same way Impact did, but on top of that, they also suspended Honey's payments and put them on a remediation plan. This plan...
Yeah, dude, it's generally a bad idea to get steroids that have an unusual concentration. So again, Test E, it's 250 milligrams per mil. Test C, it's 200 milligrams per mil. Boldnone, 300. Deca, 200. Mast, it's either 1 or 200. Just stick to normal concentrations. As soon as you see gear at a higher concentration than normal, I'd just generally stay away from it unless you really trust the supplier.
Involves PayPal funding certain initiatives like giving networks access to their source code and implementing policies for online stores to manage and remove unauthorized coupon codes. Now, I will give credit where it's due. These three networks at least did something. which is more than we can say for these other networks who stayed silent and, as far as I can tell, did absolutely nothing. The consequences of these actions are significant. This is terrible PR for PayPal, it's costing them real money, and it will almost certainly be used against them in the ongoing litigation. However, the fact that every single one of these networks has allowed Honey to continue operating on their platform is genuinely fucking insane. Even Rakuten, the one network that terminated Honey, has since quietly allowed them back onto their platform. And frankly, I'm not surprised. Look, these punitive measures obviously suck for PayPal, but when you consider the seriousness of what they did, it's nothing more than a slap on the wrist. And that sets a terrible precedent for the entire industry, because every bad actor just watched a Fortune 500 company break the rules, build a system to cover it up, got caught, yet was ultimately allowed to continue doing business. Good luck and
21st. I've been on YouTube for over a decade. You've seen the entire fucking home gym. See any fucking kettlebells, retard? What would you do if you met Paul Saladino in public? I don't know what I'd do. No, like, get the fuck out of my chat. Fucking retard. Congratulations, you're banned. Congratulations, you're banned. Congratulations, you're banned, faggot. Fuck you, fucking retard. You're fucking lucky you're in Florida or I'd twist your fucking head off. Do you think you could beat Clav in a fight? Do you think I'm gonna let you fucking be an idiot in my fucking chat? See you later, retard. I guess your mom doesn't give you enough attention. Gee, do you think you could beat up a skinny fucking twink? Yeah, you're not gonna waste my fucking time anymore. Get the fuck out of here, loser. What do you want me to say? Well, I don't know. I guess I'd hold him hostage. Maybe bring him in my basement, slowly peel his skin off. Is that what you want me to say? Gee, I guess if I met Paul in person, I'd say, hey, Paul, you look like a beta male faggot. Go fuck yourself. And then go on about my fucking day. Idiot. Yeah, I've lived here for 2 fucking years, retard. Calling it a fucking village. What the fuck? Where the hell, like, do you think I live in fucking India? Do you see straw huts around here? I look pretty jacked.
Jasmine sucking on Indian cock, Jasmine sucking on Indian cock, Jasmine sucking on Indian cock, fat sucking on BWC, fat suck.
Australia.
This fat ass is literally a fucking terrorist, and as soon as anybody, like, as soon as anybody says something that he, like remotely gets offended by and dislikes, like if you say Islam allows for child rape, he just tough talks, like, dudes that are way smaller than him. And I've seen him, like, actually attack people before, too. I'd like to see him do that shit with me.
And we talked about, for example...
All right, thanks, 21st. Yeah, Paul and Clav meeting was, like, it was just retard maxing. Yeah, I'm still using 30 gauge needles in their 1-inch.
Enforcing the rules after that. Now, regardless of how these networks have handled this, the fallout from the scandal has still hit Honey hard, and that's mostly thanks to you guys. So, I was curious to see if there were any measurable insights into how much damage has been done. Well, thanks to data compiled by my buddy Yelta, we can actually put some numbers to it. And it's brutal. On top of losing 7 million users, Honey has also lost over 7,000 merchant partners, even after being allowed back onto Rakuten's network. We can see that in December 2024, Honey was partnered with roughly 35,000 online stores, and that number has since fallen to just over 28,000. That's a significant loss of business. And keep in mind, some merchant partners are more valuable to PayPal than others. For example, one of those lost partnerships was Apple, who was Honey's largest partner in terms of monetizable traffic. Here's a crazy statistic. Apple alone generated more shopping traffic than Honey's bottom 27,000 partnered stores combined. And Apple wasn't the only big brand to jump ship. There's a ton of them. So yeah, that's gotta sting. Honey's database of coupons has taken a huge hit too. As of December last year, Honey had 9.
It's so bizarre that a company like PayPal would do this, because, like, yeah, no shit, when you steal from people, they're gonna find out about it. And then, like, you're gonna be worse off than you were before. It's just so weird that a big corporation like that would be like, hey, let's just steal money. What could go wrong?
90,000 coupons, but is now down to about 50,000. And there's a very good reason for that loss of 40,000 coupons. One of the issues I highlighted in the series was Honey quietly harvesting coupon codes from users at checkout without their knowledge or consent. As a result, private employee discounts, friends and family codes, and even military veteran discounts were ending up on Honey for anyone to use.
Yeah, military
the
veteran.
vast majority of codes recently removed were user
crazy.
source coupons, going from 29,000 down to just 3,000. So it appears as though the networks have finally cracked down on this, which is a huge win for the small businesses who were affected by this behavior. But it's not all good news. Of the 50,000 coupons Honey still has, at least 10,000 are still known to be expired. And PayPal is still applying those codes at checkout, fully aware that they're expired. I've confirmed this through multiple tests, as well as reviewing Honey's source code. Now keep in mind, Honey was previously claiming commissions on sales, even when they couldn't find you a working coupon. And
Why is there anti-Semitism everywhere? I watched a video from America's Got Talent, and the performer was Israeli, and the comments are full of anti-Semitic, vile, what the fuck, are we living in Nazi Germany? Because it feels like it. You know, just retards. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
around the time I exposed this issue, PayPal had around 14,000 stores with no.
Do I take anything for sleep? Growth hormone, melanotan, and melatonin. That really puts me to sleep, like, pretty much immediately. Yeah, growth hormone is amazing for sleep. That's probably the best sleep drug you can possibly take. Melanotan is also pretty damn good for sleep, at least melanotan 2. Haven't tried melanotan 1. But melanotan 2 makes me sleepy. And yeah, melatonin's good.
No valid coupons, and zero cashback to offer. So this wasn't some random edge case scenario as some people have speculated. No, PayPal was earning legit money while wasting your time with expired codes. Google did try to put an end to this behavior in 2025 by updating their Chrome store policies. This enforcement barred extensions like Honey from claiming commissions unless they actually provided users with some form of benefit. Sweet, problem solved, right? Well, not quite. Honey found a simple but clever workaround. They just quietly activated cashback across virtually all of their partnered stores. That might sound like a win for consumers, and technically it is, but for the majority of those stores, Honey is only offering 0.1 to 1% cashback. And based on my own testing, Honey has only ever given me the minimum of the advertised range. And based on the latest captured data, Honey offers this dog
Just imagine if the performer was black and then the comments were full of racist comments. It's like that, but they hide behind the idea of supporting Plastoins, but in reality it's just about hating Jews, not helping Plastoins, like I always tell you anyway.
Yep, it's just all a cover for anti-Semitism. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
rate for almost 70% of their cashback active merchants. Point is, Honey still benefits from enticing you with an expired coupon because when it inevitably fails, they default to cashback, allowing them to cash in on the sale while giving you pennies on the dollar. But hey, on the bright side, at least PayPal aren't poaching affiliate commissions nearly as often as they once were. Speaking of which, let's discuss the ongoing class action lawsuits, because there have been some really
Dodo, did you know that melatonin more than 0.5 milligrams needs prescription in Europe? Yeah, I know. It's really fucking stupid. It's highly, highly unlikely that you'd have any adverse effects from melatonin. So I have no idea why they're fine with you drinking alcohol, but melatonin somehow needs prescription. You can get 0.5 milligrams or less over the counter. In Canada and America, the standard is 5 milligrams for over the counter. I wouldn't even say that's standard. Most of the bottles that I see are usually 10 milligrams. I've seen as high as 100 milligrams per capsule. But yeah, most of the ones I've seen over the counter are 10 milligrams. The other half are either 5 or 20 milligrams, and I've seen some that are 100 milligram caps. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
significant developments there. As most of you already know, PayPal's behavior caught the attention of a ton of different law firms. One of the first to file was YouTuber and attorney Legal Eagle, who filed a class action against.
Yeah, there's a funny thing here too in Canada. DHEA can only be prescribed through a doctor, which is so fucking bizarre because they don't test DHEA on any kind of standard blood work. They don't even test your fucking testosterone on standard blood work. So it's like, when the fuck is anybody ever going to be prescribed DHEA unless like they specifically ask for the test? And then they test low, and the doctor like isn't a fucking retard and actually recommends a prescription. It's really fucking weird, but in the States, it's just an over-the-counter supplement. Like, you can just get it in Walmart. Thanks, Dodo.
PayPal Honey on behalf of content creators. After he filed, around 20 other law firms filed similar complaints across different states. Now, when you've got that many law firms suing over the same thing, the courts don't want to handle them all separately. That's a huge waste of valuable court resources. So,
no, I wouldn't take Tren if it wasn't vegan. Fucking retard.
the cases get consolidated into one big class action, and the assigned judge selects a small group of law firms to lead the case. But that's just the creator lawsuit. Most people don't realize that on top of that, there are 2 additional class actions against PayPal over Honey. One
Hopefully they all starve to death in the street due to their lack of an ability to get a job because of their anti-Semitism and are then eaten by vultures. We need some ething to get rid of those corpses after all.
Yeah, hopefully. Unfortunately, welfare exists. Maybe like we can make we could get Fauci to design a COVID virus that only attacks Palestine supporters. Thanks, Dodo.
brought on behalf of consumers in the United States, and another on behalf of consumers in the United Kingdom. Both are suing PayPal for allegedly misleading consumers with false marketing claims. I'm not going into detail on those particular lawsuits today, but here's where they currently stand. The case brought on behalf of consumers in the UK was recently dismissed. However, that decision is now being appealed in the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals. As for the US consumer case, that's still ongoing. But let's talk about the creator lawsuit, which is being overseen by federal judge Beth Freeman in the Northern District of California. 3 competing law firms were selected to represent the plaintiffs, the content creators. Interestingly, Legal Eagle's firm wasn't one of the firms chosen. I guess being first to file doesn't automatically win you a seat at the table. But hey, shout out to Legal Eagle for taking the lead and bringing more attention to the story. Anyways, once the case is consolidated, the defendant, PayPal, gets to assess the claims made against them, and almost always they file what's known as a motion to dismiss, which is them basically asking the judge to throw the case out entirely before it even moves forward to trial. Now, in November 2025, there was a hearing on that motion to dismiss, which I listened into live, and during those oral arguments, it was pretty clear that Judge Freeman wasn't entirely convinced that the content creators had demonstrated that PayPal actually violated any contracts. So, things weren't exactly off to a good start. But the judge laid out for the lawyers where she felt the complaint fell short. She also allowed discovery to begin, meaning both sides now had to start handing over documents and evidence. And a few weeks later, she issued her formal decision, effectively dismissing all claims but with leave to amend. This means that while PayPal got a temporary win on paper, the lawyers representing the content creators were allowed to go back, fix the issues the judge highlighted, and file an amended complaint. Regardless, it didn't take long for the usual suspects to take a premature victory lap. PayPal's lawyers, hello partner, and of course Ryan Hudson, who tweeted case dismissed despite not owning the company anymore. But little did they know, I had an ace up my sleeve. That of course being the discovery of Honey's defeat device, and I was fairly confident that once exposed, it would help the case significantly. And sure enough, after that video went live, the lawyers formally included it into the amended complaint. Now, I'll be honest, I was a little worried they wouldn't because they only had like 5 or 6 days after my video was published before their amended complaint was due.
Or maybe we can just get Trump to revoke their welfare as well as their citizenship.
Yeah, that'd work. Just deport them to Gaza. Thanks, Dodo.
But they managed to pull it off. So, let's take a look. On page 65, we can see the following. PayPal devised several methods to ignore or circumvent stand-down protocols. PayPal designed Honey to surreptitiously avoid standing down at all when it detects the browser is likely being used by an actual consumer rather than a network tester or network auditor, i.e. users who are not there to shop but to test the browser extension for compliance with stand-down rules. Honey has created 4 basic criteria through which it determines whether or not to stand down. The lawyers then lay out the 4 criteria Honey tested: how old your account was, how many cashback points you had earned, if you're on a blacklisted website with special rules, and lastly, whether you had visited an affiliate network's website, which the complaint describes as arguably the most glaring reveal of PayPal's bad intent. Couldn't agree more. So there you have it, my big discovery now formally alleged in a federal complaint. Not gonna lie, after all the hard work I put into uncovering this, it feels good. And the inclusion of this evidence wasn't the only improvement. The lawyers did a great job strengthening the complaint across the board. Okay, but what effect has all of this had on the case? Well, on June 4th, there was a second hearing on PayPal's motion to dismiss. And this time, there was a completely different energy in the courtroom. The moment the hearing started, the judge made it clear that she believed this case could move forward. And when she invited PayPal's lead attorney to make his arguments, Richard Jacobson, the same lawyer who sent me the cease and desist, she joked that he had an uphill battle ahead of him and might not be winning the motion to dismiss. A brutal thing to hear before you've even opened your mouth. And it only went downhill from there. Throughout the hearing, Judge Freeman constantly pushed back on PayPal's arguments, challenging them at every turn. To give you an example, at one point, PayPal tried arguing that affiliate IDs don't hold any real intrinsic value because they're just short strings of numbers and letters. The judge responded with something along the lines of, well, you could say the same thing about a dollar bill. To which Richard replied, quote, I don't know how to respond to that.
Wow. That is a dumb lawyer.
And in my view, that kind of sums up PayPal's whole defense. On the other hand, as the lawyers representing the content creators presented their arguments, the judge mostly listened in without interrupting. It was pretty obvious which way she was leaning. So it seemed very likely during this hearing that the amended complaint had done its job. Now, it's important to understand that when a judge rules on a motion to dismiss, it's not as simple as deciding whether to throw out the entire case or keep it. The judge has to go through each individual claim and decide on the merits of each one separately. So for example, she might say, yes, I see a legitimate case for computer fraud, but no, I don't think you've proven unfair business practices. She could dismiss every claim besides one, and the lawsuit would still move forward on that one remaining claim, just under a much more limited scope. And after listening to the hearing, I thought the judge would allow most of the claims to survive, but not all of them. Well, on June 22nd, Judge Freeman issued her final ruling, and every single claim survived. That is a huge win for content creators and a massive blow to PayPal. So, what happens now? Well, now that the case has survived, there's no reason for the lawyers to delay the discovery process. That means PayPal handing over documents, internal communications, and their employees possibly facing depositions under oath. And given that the defeat device was developed prior to PayPal's acquisition of Honey, it's entirely possible that the original founders, Ryan Hudson and George Ruan, get dragged into this process as well. And honestly, I think they should. A lot of this started while the company was under their leadership, and I think they need to be held accountable in some way. It's also worth noting that since the defeat device was exposed, Ryan, who was previously very vocal in trying to defend his former company, has now gone completely silent.
Yeah.
Pretty telling if you ask me. Now, with that all said, realistically, I think PayPal settles. I doubt PayPal wants their developers sitting in a deposition room explaining the defeat device under oath. And
Yeah.
look, don't get me wrong, if a settlement gets content creators their money back, obviously I'm all for that. But a settlement also means that those depositions may never happen. No testimony about whose idea it was to create the system, no one on the record explaining why it existed for 7 years, and the full story of what went on behind closed doors at Honey, well, that potentially stays buried forever. But here's the thing, regardless of whether this case settles or goes to trial, there's something very important that I didn't get into in my last video, and it could make a huge difference for every affiliate who had their commission stolen. You see, from the very first day that Honey deployed the defeat device, they added code that documented every decision it made. So each time the system decided to violate stand-down rules, that decision was logged. Every time it decided to play safe, that too was logged, along with which rule triggered the decision. But more importantly, they also logged the original affiliate link the user clicked on, which often contains the original affiliate's ID, and in some cases, even the affiliate's name. Now, assuming PayPal has retained this data, and I think there's a very good chance they have, it means that somewhere on PayPal servers lies a detailed record of every single instance in which this defeat device enabled the theft of someone else's sale. And I'm fairly certain the lawyers will be demanding access to that data if they haven't already. And if it's as comprehensive as I believe it is, a lot of the stolen commissions could potentially be traced back to the original affiliate it was taken from. But here's a better idea. To the affiliate networks who are most certainly watching this video, if you truly care about protecting content affiliates, don't wait for the courts. Demand that telemetry data from PayPal and make them pay back any commissions that were stolen. It's the right thing to do.
PayPal's statement, we have coordinated closely with industry partners to evolve practices and promote accurate attribution and value for customers. Yeah, you say that after you get caught. What a fucking joke. Again, it's so fucking weird that a huge corporation like PayPal would have this idea. Let's just steal money and see how long we can get away with it for. Like, so weird. Like, who the fuck is running PayPal? It's bizarre.
For Hachette book
All right, Mike Israeltel's latest book is AI Slop.
group, The Burden of...
No, this video is shorter.
And I swear I didn't do this before I started this video. I'm just going to take a completely random block of text and we're going to put it through an AI tester. Let's see what happens. All right, we are highly confident this text was AI generated. I'm not going to tell you that I came into this thing with no malice in my heart, because that's not how I do anything. I was rooting for this. I was once a Mr. Mike.
Yeah, so Mike Israetel is literally using AI to write books now.
proof has been met. Based on their own track record, the only consistent response is to pull the aesthetic revolution from publication. The book. In this chapter, I'll provide an objective summary of the aesthetic revolution. I'm going to be thorough because I think there's a real chance that Mike's book gets discontinued due to the AI-generated portions, meaning that this video could become one of the last remaining records of his book. But if you just want to hear my critique, then feel free to skip ahead. In the introduction of Mike's book, he argues that physical aesthetics determines how people are treated and feel within society. He asserts that existing in an undesired body often triggers intense dissonance, shame, and revulsion, illustrating this with a memory of a 2004 college party where a "No Fat Chicks" poster was a cognitive slap in the face to two overweight students. Mike argues that societal judgment inflicts lasting emotional pain, referencing his own childhood sting of being told he had a gut. While acknowledging that the body is merely a vessel for the mind, Mike asserts that people shouldn't passively cope with dissatisfaction over their appearance. Instead, Mike argues that embracing the bright side of vanity is empowering. He asserts that by joining an aesthetic revolution fueled by cold hard science, diligent work, and biotech advances, people can transform their bodies into an ideal that they truly love. In Chapter 1, The Human Desire for Beauty, Mike argues that human beauty standards are evolutionarily encoded since what we perceive as beautiful correlates with health, fertility, and genetic robustness. He asserts that universal aesthetic preferences, such as clear skin and symmetrical features, represent our brains detecting order amid a wash of chaos. Mike reaffirms that physical appearance dictates societal treatment from kindergarten on.
That sounded like AI slop bullshit. What the fuck?
Onward, granting attractive people silent privileges while subjecting others to a relentless ache of unspoken rejection and self-imposed shame. Consequently, Mike argues that body positivity and mental reframing, where you just tell yourself that whatever you look like, you're perfect for the world, have real limits against our innate biological wiring. He once again asserts that instead of passively coping, people should seize control of their appearance. Mike argues that through fitness and emerging biotechnology, people can transform their bodies and thereby achieve emotional fulfillment. In Chapter 2, The Anatomy of the Aesthetic Revolution, Mike argues that the human pursuit of beauty follows an exponential pattern. To support this thesis, he talks about how we've transitioned from ancient cosmetic rituals to a rapid technological boom. He asserts that while earlier muscle gain and fat loss waves made basic body transformation a solved problem for anyone with a sufficient work ethic, a true aesthetic revolution is exploding now. Mike argues that the Ozempic effect was the first shot heard round the world, successfully bypassing hunger. He predicts that an upcoming drug wave around 2030 will introduce medications that cellularly replicate the benefits of physical activity without requiring people to spend their whole day working out. Following this, Mike asserts that an advanced cosmetic wave of AI-powered surgery and rejuvenation therapies will eradicate loose skin. To defeat what he calls the menace of aging, Mike argues that a mid-2030s age reversal wave will restore people to a biological 22-year-old body. Finally, Mike prophesies.
I got a 3D printer. I print gridfinity bins to organize my shit, then put the bins in printed grid baskets. The text labels on the bins are interchangeable so I can swap them out if I want to use it for something else.
That's cool. I'd like to 3D print guns. Unfortunately, it's highly illegal for absolutely no fucking reason. But yeah. In the States, you can 3D print guns, depending on, certain factors, but, yeah, if I move to the States, I'm 3D printing my own weapons. Within bounds of law and all that. Thanks, NonWib.
That a definitive genetic engineering wave will use generative AI to edit the human genome. He argues that this final wave will allow people easily to customize facial shapes or even adopt bioluminescent skin, naturally purple hair, elf ears, and even devil horns, making physique enhancement as simple as buying the perfect cover for your phone. In Chapter 3, Why Muscle Matters.
Just let these lovely birds finish the job of the corpse of these SJW losers.
Out here on the African plain, it don't pay to be purty. And these fellas are living proof. The boys of Vulture Valley. They ain't graceful. They ain't glamorous. They
like
don't
vultures.
get invited to no highfalutin dinner parties. But vultures are powerful important in the web of life.
I think New World vultures are a bit cuter, but I like vultures in general. Thanks, Dodo.
Mike asserts that while attractiveness doesn't follow a rigid one-to-one relationship with muscle size, achieving a personalized level of muscularity is essential for attaining one's best self-assessed aesthetic look. Mike contends that added muscle mass connotes youth and health, particularly when wearing tighter clothing. For women, he claims that developing upper body muscle accentuates an hourglass figure, while muscular legs ensure that clothing will scream, "Look at me," endlessly into the ether. Addressing glute training, he reassures readers that almost no one has ever accidentally trained their way into excessively large glutes, advising women to get your glutes as big as you can. For men, he recommends training the upper
Yeah, tell that to Tiffany Sam.
body to achieve an upside-down Dorito chip silhouette, and insists that it's exceptionally rare to meet anyone repelled by excessively large male arms. When cataloguing the health and quality of life benefits of muscle growth, Mike lists improved glucose regulation, lipid metabolism, sleep, and anxiety reduction. He explains that muscle mass passively gobbles up excess nutrients and observationally notes that muscular people tend to walk through common colds. Regarding longevity, he argues that building strength prevents immobility and ensures that traumatic events like car crashes become easier to survive. To achieve these transformations, Mike argues that trainees can reap impressive results through a minimalist routine of as little as 2 30-minute workouts per week by using distributed compound exercise.
Dodo, what a horrible...
I've been vegan for 14 years. Today
She was never vegan. I love how this fat bitch is like, I wanted to go vegan to lose weight, but I like stayed fat, so I'm quitting veganism. And then she like just eats a bunch of bacon. She's just a fat ass. Fuck this stupid bitch. Thanks, Dodo.
Exercises, multi-joint movements like close grip bench
I'm sure the
presses and
bacon will
pull-downs
help you
that
lose
distribute
weight.
stress across multiple muscles simultaneously. Mike also argues that lifters can deploy time-saving techniques like myo-reps, that is using brief 5 to 10 second rest pauses, or supersets, which pair unrelated exercises with zero rest. Regarding execution, Mike says that lifters should adhere to 4 technique rules: maintaining stable positioning, lowering weights under strict control without bouncing, following a consistent movement path, and taking reps through a deep range of motion to achieve the maximum comfortable stretch. When structuring workouts, Mike asserts that lifters can build muscle using any weight between 5 and 30 reps per set, provided that each set is pushed close to failure, stopping roughly 3 reps or fewer away from an inability to complete another proper rep. For beginners, he contends that training should commence with just 1 working set per exercise in week 1, telling us that volume should only increase if the individual is no longer sore, feels psychologically strong, and has the time. To drive continuous adaptation, Mike recommends adding small weight increments or a single rep weekly until fatigue sets in. Once a trainee fails to hit their target reps 2 workouts in a row, Mike recommends that they take a week off for a deep break.
Then why are they vilified in movies like Snow White?
I think most people are just lame and retarded, that's why. Thanks, Dodo.
Allowing the body to recover before cycling back to lower volume.
If you're doing a double progression, you're going to stall way more than if you just do straight linear progression. It makes no fucking sense to just do a deload just because you missed a single rep on a double progression. You know, on a double progression scheme. Usually you have to keep, like, you just keep going and then eventually you'll just get the reps. Yeah, I think he's just kind of lazy and just wants to take time off working out.
Volumes. To customize this programming to bring up specific muscle groups, he notes that readers can manually manipulate exercise order and weekly sets, or just get the RP Hypertrophy app and it will help you do all this seamlessly. In Chapter 4, Debunking Muscle and Exercise Myths, Mike addresses what he sees as pervasive fitness myths that need...
Mike Israetel is a fucking retard. Like, at this point, literally all the videos on his channel are completely and utterly unwatchable. It is the most dumb fuck, retarded garbage slop. And again, like, a lot of his training advice is just fucking stupid. Like this. He recommends relying on double progression for lifting. And then says, if you miss your double progression target 2 weeks in a row, just take a week off. Well, what's going to happen? You're not going to hit the double progression target when you start training again. Like, it's just dumb. Like, yeah, double progression just tends to be slower, and you just need to keep exercising in order to force the adaptation. Like, how the fuck does he think training works? Like, it makes sense to do that if you're doing, you know, linear, like just straight linear progression where you're adding weight each week. But, yeah, for, like, the majority of your training, you're going to be doing, like, double progression for hypertrophy. Like, you'd never, like, I don't know how the fuck this guy figures this. Like, you'd figure it out, you know, on your own, just training. Oh, this is a stupid idea. Like, you're bound constantly to miss double progression targets. So like again, if you're training for bench, and let's say you start off with a set of 8, And then the double progression target is like a set of 9 and then 10, then 11, then 12, then add weight. You are bound to have like session after session after session where you can only get to 10. You'll never make fucking progress if you do a deload as soon as after those 2 sessions you're just not able to get to 11. You'd never make fucking progress. Like, and again, anybody who fucking trains would figure that out, but like, I just don't know how he comes up with such stupid horse shit. Dodo, she's like Nikocado. She's making tons of short titled vegan tries meat for the first time, where she's eating meat and crying about how good it is. Yeah, I don't really care. I don't want to give her attention, dude. Thanks, Dodo.
Needlessly complicate muscle growth. He reckons that people...
I mean, they're not even predators. The animals or people they're eating are already dead. How is that evil to people?
Yeah, I know. That's kind of dumb. Like, they basically clean up carcasses. That's all they do. It's kind of weird. Thanks, Dodo. How do you get through a plateau, then? By fucking training. Like...
People claiming a lack of time usually...
Like, tell me if this makes any sense to you. You want to hit, 11 reps on the bench when you can only get 10 with a given weight. You try for 11. Oh, I only got 10. You try for 11 again the next week. Oh, I only got 10. I'm just not going to train. Like, oh, is that how you get stronger? By not training? Like, so yeah, you go to the gym again, you try to get 11. You go to the gym again, you try to get 11. You go to the gym again, you try to get 11. You go again and again and again until you get 11. It'll happen eventually. But like this idea that, oh, I didn't get stronger yet, I'm not going to train now. Like, it's just stupid.
We prioritize Netflix and phone scrolling over basic 30-minute workouts. Further, he argues that copying professional bodybuilders or obsessing over ultra-neurotic lifting technique is unproductive, noting that simple home setups with adjustable dumbbells work well. He also reassures us that resistance training won't inherently make women look manly, nor will abdominal exercises create a visible six-pack without fat loss, since the diet does 98% of the work. He states that lifters have to embrace the discomfort of training close to failure. He compares...
It could work if you're really fatigued. Nobody is too fatigued from training, dude. Nobody. Like, yeah, you do occasionally have to take deloads, but it's not like something the vast majority of people have to worry about.
There's this burning pain to currency, like gold coins in Mario. In Chapter 5, Fat Loss, Mike argues that bodily aesthetics and health are strongly determined by body fat. Excess calories, Mike notes, inevitably convert to stored body fat regardless of macronutrient origin. Mike acknowledges that subcutaneous fat has aesthetic value, such as by creating an hourglass figure or acting like a chocolate coating on an almond that gives skin a fuller appearance. Mike asserts that excess fat can't be spot reduced, as storage patterns are genetically predetermined. He goes on to argue that shedding visceral fat is both a psychological and physical game changer that dramatically improves sleep, mobility, energy, and overall lifespan. To achieve fat loss, Mike asserts that
his stomach protrudes so much. It would be interesting to see if he got an MRI scan, if he had a large amount of visceral fat, because like his stomach just bulges like crazy. I don't know like what is in his stomach, but it's just so fucking huge, like he's pregnant.
That calorie balance is the bedrock, warning that physical activity plays merely a moderating role because human evolution never created a reliable shut-off mechanism for consuming palatable, calorie-dense foods. He argues that trying to out-train overeating is futile, noting that eating 2 donuts requires a strenuous 4 to 5 mile jog just to burn them off. Consequently, Mike asserts that dietary control should be the primary focus of fat loss. Rather than adopting extreme deficits, which he claims trigger exhaustion and metabolic slowdowns, Mike argues for a moderate strategy, combining a daily 300 to 600 calorie deficit with a modest increase in step count to achieve lasting consistency. In Chapter 6, Designing a Diet, Mike argues that designing an effective fat loss diet relies on 3 pillars: preserving underlying health with micronutrient-dense foods, selecting filling foods to curb cravings, and building long-term habits that make maintenance a seamless transition rather than a struggle. He asserts that fad elimination diets fail because they leave dieters with no clear strategy for reintroducing carbohydrates without regaining weight. Instead, Mike argues for an 80-20 rule, where 80% of calories stem from whole foods. In addition, he promotes eating roughly 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight daily to preserve muscle mass. To monitor progress, he recommends tracking weekly weight trends or relying on his company's RP Diet Coach app, targeting a rate of loss of 0.5 to 1.5 pounds per week. Mike also argues that fat loss phases should be strictly capped at 8 to 12 weeks to prevent burnout. Comparing a dieter to a soldier, he asserts that reaching the goal intact matters more than reaching it wrecked, implying that dedicated post-diet maintenance phases are essential permanently to retain a leaner physique. In Chapter 7, Fat Loss and Diet Myths Exposed and Explained, Mike identifies what he sees as pervasive dieting myths that sabotage sustainable fat loss. He asserts that attempting to lose weight rapidly is doomed to fail, comparing crash dieters to panicked horror movie characters who floor the gas and crash into a tree, warning jokingly that you're going to get eaten by monsters if you diet too quickly. I'll have a lot to say about this later. Additionally, Mike argues against trying to lose all
the research actually shows the opposite. People who diet more aggressively and lose weight faster tend to be more successful and keep weight off longer term.
Weight in a single uninterrupted push, or implementing extreme lifestyle changes all at once. When addressing people who attempt to lose all of their excess weight in one continuous phase, he challenges their ambition by saying, "If you could do that, then what the f*** has stopped you so far, motherfucker? It's always very overweight people who claim they can lose the most weight all at once, huh?" Conversely, Mike argues that dieting too slowly, such as losing a quarter pound per week, is equally problematic due to tracking errors and relentless diet fatigue, comparing the ordeal to being trapped on side roads for 6 hours at 35 miles per hour. Addressing common nutrition misconceptions, Mike asserts that no magic superfoods or inherently metabolism-destroying foods exist and instructs readers who need meal ideas simply to ask any AI chatbot. He argues that carbohydrates and dietary fats don't uniquely cause weight gain. Rather, excess calories from irresistible, hyperpalatable carb and fat combinations are the true culprits. When dieters inevitably slip up, Mike argues that one bad bite means nothing, offering the straightforward advice simply to resume the diet. Stop going off plan, motherfucker. He asserts that basic healthy eating isn't inherently expensive and argues that neither vegan nor carnivore ideologies hold unique fat loss powers. As a diet progresses...
To be fair, people like Kevin Carter certainly did not help the vulture's image.
An emaciated Sudanese child collapses on the ground in exhaustion.
Well, I mean, the vulture has to eat too. Thanks, Dodo.
Well, good news in Wisconsin. VGDSA candidate Francesca Hong, who was expected to win the primary 96% chance on Pollmarket, is losing by 0.5% with 90% of the vote into a black establishment Democrat candidate. This is a huge upset if she loses.
She's fucking crazy. Like out of her fucking mind insane. Yeah, hopefully she does fucking lose. Thanks, Dodo.
And hunger spikes, Mike argues that people should intentionally reduce food tastiness to allay intense cravings. Finally, he asserts that controlled weight gain is important to build muscle. Mike concludes that dieting should be viewed as an act of sculpting. In Chapter 8, Training and Dieting for Long-Term Results, Mike reassures us that while achieving bodily transformation is difficult due to evolutionary wiring, holding onto those results is simple because maintenance is massively easier than progress. To manage weight fluctuations after holiday indulgences, he advises readers simply to implement short weight loss sprints lasting 2 to 4 weeks. If people wish to build muscle afterwards, then he instructs them to increase their training volume, recommending that they work up to lifting 5 or 6 sessions per week for maximum growth. When outlining how readers should manage these behavioral modifications, he recommends hiring a professional coach so that readers don't have to figure out everything alone. You just execute the plan and let the expert do the thinking for you. For readers who prefer digital assistance, he urges them to download his company's apps. In his closing personal insight, he describes using his own software as a soothing checklist vibe that delivers a mini dopamine hit every time he logs a meal, declaring that checking off daily food tasks on his phone gives him a feeling of fitness ASMR. In Chapter 9, Weight Loss Drugs, Mike asserts that the primary culprit behind widespread weight gain is simply delicious food that encourages overeating, which traps people in a vicious cycle of relentless hunger. To combat this, Mike argues that new GLP-1 medications have ushered in an era of satiety signals 2.0. He dismisses concerns regarding pharmaceutical dependence by stating that there's nothing philosophically or practically wrong with long-term drug use. When evaluating
I totally agree with Mike on the use of GLP-1 drugs. There's absolutely no fucking reason why, if somebody needs to lose weight, they shouldn't be using them. They are, like, they're just good for you. They lower ApoB, improve insulin sensitivity, reduce risk of all cancers combined. They lower risk of all-cause mortality. If you're on GLP-1 drugs, you're less likely to die. And on top of that, they have a bunch of other weird fucking benefits that nobody really suspected. They seem to improve symptoms of drug and alcohol addiction. They also seem to help with joint pain. And they might actually help to remodel cartilage. So there's no reason not to use these drugs. Like, especially when you're talking to a broad audience where you want them to be successful. Well, like, guess what? Most people completely fail at fitness and fail at dieting. So, like, why wouldn't you tell your average fucking person who's going to have an issue with adherence to take a GLP-1 drug? It's just fucking stupid. Dodo, Frank Tufano, president.
Going fine, going just absolutely fine. We totally control the Strait of Hormuz. We have control over it. Nobody else, only us. Our Navy is unbelievable. And things are going great for our country. Go ahead.
Dude, he's just fucking cracked. Like, is anybody actually buying that horse shit?
A lot of people get it. So let me put an idea in your head, okay? Because it's so hard to get the Senate to do anything. Now they're on recess. They don't get anything done if they never get the Save America Act done. You have the right to declare a national security emergency for elections. And the Supreme Court ruled in 1983 under Reagan that INS versus Chadha, that if you declare a national security emergency as the President of the United States, they can't challenge it. It can only be overturned by a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress. So if you do this in the next month, we will get photo ID, proof of citizenship, and a limit to mail-in ballots. And you don't even need the Senate vote.
Happened. Okay, I'll leave it at that.
All right, we'll leave it at that. So let me finish with a couple of ridiculous.
Oh my god. Like, I've never seen anybody so transparent like that. Almost all of Dane County is in, and Francesca Hung is still trailing by 4,000 votes. It's looking like it's all over. Shocking upset for the Democrats establishment, who are expected to lose this race by double digits. Like again, that bitch is so fucking crazy. It would be surprising if she would win by a huge margin. So why in the what the fuck is the deal with these municipalities, by the way, where like they'd even vote for an unhinged whack job like this? Just fucking nuts. Thanks, Dodo.
Evaluating new GLP-1 and GIP agonists, such as tirzepatide and retatrutide, he asserts that they produce fewer issues with nausea and heartburn, and optimistically predict that future drug generations will render side effects negligible or even imperceptible, making them feel as routine and untroubling as taking vitamins.
Well, here's the thing too. When you see all these reported side effects like the nausea, indigestion, crap like that, where people are just complaining about digestive upset, it's usually transient. So they when they first get on the drug, they have that problem. But if they keep taking it, it usually just goes away. I kind of had that a little bit when I first started taking Reta. I did have bouts of nausea here and there, but after a couple weeks, it just went away. A lot of people also just take the full bolus dose for the whole week. If you split the dose, like some people do the microdosing, I don't think that's necessary, but like say if you need a higher dose, so the starting dose is 2 milligrams. If you need to up it to 4 milligrams, it might make more sense to take 2 milligrams on Monday than 2 milligrams Friday. That can also help reduce issues with nausea and the digestive upset. And like same thing when you escalate the dose. Like say you need 6 milligrams, then you just take 3 Monday, 3 Friday. If you take all 6 milligrams, I think the dose goes up to as high as 12 milligrams for Retta for the highest dose. Yeah, if you take that all at once, it wouldn't surprise me if you'd feel like shit and like vomit and have indigestion, upset stomach and shit. But again, if you just do something reasonable, like just take a smaller amount multiple times a week, you're less likely to run into those issues. But, people are fucking stupid and they can't think for themselves. Oh, well, doctor says inject it once. Again, a lot of these issues could be avoided if you just use some basic fucking critical thinking skills.
His concluding personal insight, Mike recalls a post-competition binge where he consumed 9,000 calories per day for 3 days straight and had to sleep upright to avoid choking. After this, he began taking semaglutide. While admitting that the drug functioned as a leash for the wild animal of appetite, he
Dude, I love how this guy says he has infinite willpower. And then he admitted he ate 9,000 calories per day for 3 days and had to sleep upright so he didn't choke on the food that wasn't digested in his fucking stomach. I have infinite willpower. I can't stop eating. He's such a joke.
concedes that its side effects were far from negligible, confessing that the heartburn was feral. To solve this discomfort, he switched to tirzepatide and retatrutide, which he claims successfully evicted his cravings for pizza. Finally, he champions the impending drug cornucopia, advising readers that using pharmacological interventions is not cheating, it's evolving.
Dude, I've heard Mike talk about being on tirzepatide and Retta. He's on pretty high doses of those drugs. I think at one point he was taking like 10 milligrams of Retta. And he might have also been taking tirzepatide on top of that. It's shocking to me how this guy could be on such high doses of these drugs and still manage to get fat. He is a fucking glutton. This guy is eating due to some kind of emotional problem, not because he's hungry. There's no fucking chance. If he's on that high of a dose of these GLP-1s, that he's eating due to hunger. He has some weird fucking emotional problem and just eats for some kind of cope.
In Chapter 10, Muscle Gain Drugs, Mike concedes that conventional anabolic steroids are a minefield of severe, unwanted side effects. However, Mike asserts that emerging pharmaceuticals will be capable of building significant lean tissue without carrying traditional androgenic baggage. While acknowledging potential risks, such as the floppy joint issue,
you think 400 total tests will get TRT assessment denied? There's a very high likelihood. Usually doctors are complete and utter fucking retards. So, here's the thing, dude. If you actually look at the research, 400 milligrams total test is actually the cutoff point for actual 100% confirmed, no questions asked hypogonadism. Men below 400, they universally have some kind of symptom of hypogonadism. So it could be mood instability, depression, anxiety, lack of ambition, drive, low energy, generally low mood, sexual dysfunction, issues with physical activity and building muscle mass, stuff like that. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have every symptom, but yeah, that's the cutoff where you see universally men will have some kind of symptom of hypogonadism at that point. Doctors are fucking retards, and rather than actually looking at any research, they just look at the stupid, quote-unquote normal reference range, and they'll say, oh, well, the reference range goes from 280 to 900 or something. So you're within the reference range, everything's fine. And you can tell them You have every fucking symptom of hypogonadism. I feel like shit, depressed, anxious, I have no sex drive, my dick won't get hard, my muscles are constantly sore. When I work out, I don't build any muscle. I'm extremely physically unfit. You can list off everything. You know what they'll tell you? Well, it's in the normal reference range, so it's got to be something else. Like, they're just fucking stupid. So, yeah, there's a very high likelihood that if you talk to a doctor, they'll just waste your fucking time. They're just stupid, time-wasting fucking assholes. They're like know-it-all retards. They think because they got into like $400,000 of debt in fucking college, they're smarter than you, when they're not. Again, some of the dumbest people I've ever fucking come across are fucking doctors. This is a true story, by the way. I've seen a guy who was placed on testosterone replacement therapy due to severe hypogonadism. He was on testosterone replacement therapy for 2 months. He got his levels checked. He was only at like 500 or something. He was on a really low dose. The doctor looked at his blood work and said, "Oh, you don't need testosterone replacement therapy anymore. Your levels are normal." The reason his levels were normal is because he was on testosterone replacement therapy. And I've seen doctors do this with other medications too. Buddy of mine, he was put on, I think it was valsartan for high blood pressure. He got his blood pressure down to normal. It was averaging around 120/80. The doctor looked at his fucking blood pressure and said, "Oh, you don't need the medication anymore." The reason, that's what the medication's for, to give you a normal fucking blood pressure. The reason his blood pressure's normal is because he's on the fucking medication. My buddy had to go to a different fucking clinic to prescribe his fucking blood pressure meds. Like, you have to be a fucking retard to think like that. So doctors are just fucking stupid. Don't even again, my advice is, like, if you're a smart person and you can figure things out on your own, don't even bother going to the fucking doctor. You can order testosterone online, super fucking cheap. You don't have to waste your fucking time in a fucking waiting room. You don't have to pay a stupid amount of money for the fucking doctor visit. You don't have to contact your fucking insurance company. You don't have to, like, do this humiliation ritual where they'll make you get these unnecessary fucking tests, measure the size of your fucking testicles, accuse you of being a liar or something. You can just order it, get the fucking drug you need, and be on your fucking way. No, this is the United States that I'm talking about. This isn't Canada. That's the US. That's an American fucking doctor doing that shit. So, don't even bother. I don't even fuck with that shit anymore. I tried to get blood pressure meds at my local hospital. They denied me, and they couldn't give me a single fucking reason. So I just ordered blood pressure meds online, black market. Same with my thyroid medication. Why would I bother going to the doctor? I can look at blood work. I know my symptoms. I can just medicate myself. If I have access to the medication, I'll just get the medication online. Same with the Cialis I'm taking right now, the tadalafil. Why would I go to the doctor? I have to wait 3 hours in a fucking waiting room, then fucking bullshit to them that, oh yeah, I can't get an erection or something, and then hopefully they'll give you a fucking prescription. And they even control the prescription. So if you say you want 20 milligrams a day or something, they'll say, no, that's too high. We'll only give you 5 milligrams. And maybe if it's not enough, you can come back, waste your fucking time, then maybe we'll think about it. So just if you want a drug, order it online. If you have access to it, don't even bother going to the fucking doctors. They're just fucking idiots who will just waste your time and money.
Where rapid muscle growth outpaces tendon strengthening, like building a skyscraper on weak foundations, Mike argues that careful strength training easily mitigates this danger. He further downplays the practical barriers of...
Why don't they teach about testosterone in medical school? It's an important hormone. Well, I'll tell you why. It's because they don't give a shit about your fucking health. That's why. Doctors are not trained to give a fuck about your actual health problems. So they'll give you fucking horseshit antidepressant medication like it's fucking Skittles. But when it comes to actual long-term health, they don't give a fuck.
Repeated injections and potential immune system rejection, instead prophesying that within just 3 years or so, AI-designed muscle gain drugs will trigger rabid hunger and intense meat cravings. To solve this side effect, he proposes combining these experimental anabolic agents with GLP-1 weight loss medications like 2 adjustable dials. By simultaneously cycling these drug cocktails, he asserts that users will effortlessly sculpt whatever physique they desire, even an aristocratic Victorian ideal, if that's your jam. In Chapter 11, NEAT Drugs, Mike argues that non-exercise activity thermogenesis, NEAT, that is the daily calories burned through spontaneous movements like fidgeting or standing, is critical for body transformation. He asserts that high NEAT makes life feel vibrant, whereas low NEAT feels utterly miserable and turns fat loss into a frustratingly uphill battle. Mike claims that upcoming NEAT-modulating pharmaceuticals will soon eliminate the energetic trade-offs of dieting and act as quiet coffee in a pill form. However, after enumerating experimental candidates like metroleptin, setmelanotide, and various mitochondrial uncouplers, he details a litany of concerning clinical risks, including hypoglycemia, elevated blood pressure, liver enzyme spikes, insomnia, and persistent thermal discomfort, essentially feeling warm all the time. Ultimately, Mike confesses that most NEAT drugs are cost-prohibitive or risky, carry very gnarly side effect profiles, and are kind of just not there yet. In Chapter 12, Exercise Mimetics, Mike argues that pharmacological exercise mimetics will be able to replicate the metabolic and aesthetic benefits of training without spending hours at
I'm sure at some point they'll probably develop drugs that can do that, but I think we're a long fucking way off. That's not happening in the next few years.
the gym. Anticipating a drug revolution, Mike speculates that million-dollar gene therapies will soon render traditional gym attendance an annoying memory. He subsequently segments future society into 5 potential strata.
You know, like, these ideas are just fucking stupid. So, especially men, we're inherently competitive. So, if everybody, say, gets this gene therapy where they'll look like a fitness model, well, what are people going to do? Like, fitness model is now the norm. It's the fucking standard. So, you're going to want to be above the standard. So, what are you going to do to go above the standard? You're going to take steroids and go to the fucking gym and train. Like, it's just stupid. I don't know where he gets this, like, it's just the dumbest fucking idea imaginable. Like, oh, if everyone's decent looking, then nobody will ever do anything ever again.
The first band will be a top tier of muscular perfection where Mike places himself, declaring that he's definitely going all in. The second band comprises those who rely on drugs as well as training to attain great aesthetic results. The third band comprises those who abandon traditional gyms for chemical alternatives. The fourth band comprises the Amish of fitness, natural exercisers who resist drugs but nevertheless maintain good health. The fifth band is a subclass doomed to worsening obesity from hyperpalatable junk food. Mike then concedes that medications can't solve the biological legacy of obesity, admitting that users will still be left with trillions of fat cells and excess skin demanding surgical correction. In Chapter 13, Advanced Surgery, Mike begins by likening the aesthetic revolution to a loading progress bar, involving a continuum going from pure genetic determinism toward a utopia of aesthetics, where people achieve their dream bodies without compromise. He asserts that while nutrition, weight training, and body composition drugs move us far along this continuum, they can't fill the bar entirely. In particular, sagging skin, stubborn fat cells, skeletal proportions, and facial structure may all require advanced cosmetic surgery to create visual perfection. Regarding body contouring, Mike asserts that liposuction can succeed where diet and exercise hit their limits. He argues that because fat cells multiply during weight gain and merely shrink during weight loss, they continue driving hunger and fluid retention. But by surgically extracting these cells, Mike asserts that liposuction breaks the cycle of weight regain, noting that once cells are gone, they don't regenerate. He also argues that advanced microlipo provides an HD lipo approach that etches definition along individual muscle lines, while fat transfer techniques safely repurpose harvested fat naturally to augment the glutes, hips, or shoulders. Turning to the core, Mike argues that surgical waist reduction is the ultimate tool for creating an athletic X-frame or an hourglass silhouette. He asserts that procedures like abdominoplasty reshape the body's internal corset through fascial plication, permanently stitching and reinforcing the abdominal wall to improve aesthetics. Mike argues that modern variations such
It's really weird how this guy is recommending plastic surgery now. He got that dumb fucking skin removal surgery. He's probably gonna get more plastic surgeries because he's happy with the results he got from the previous surgery. Dodo, Francesca Hong's opponents in the race dropped out over a month before today, and then 3 weeks ago, David Crowley came back into the race because probably saw how brain dead Hong was, and wow, it looks like it's paying off for him. That's good. She's like actually crazy and wants to destroy America, so yeah, the less of her, the better. Thanks, Dodo.
such as corset abdominoplasty 2.0, tighten 3 anatomical layers and use internal mesh.
21st, Frank uploaded. Okay, we can take a Frank Tufano break. Lyle McDonald versus worst couple in fit. Oh, yeah, okay. That's probably going to be boring. Scientific Snitch's boyfriend is like this gay fucking beta white knight dipshit. Yeah, we already saw that.
Before I was botched by Dr. Taban, there were tons and tons of posts on looksmax.org suggesting...
And speaking of which...
Residents of Suta got a taste of mass cultural enrichment. Now women are terrified to walk the streets and are leaving in droves.
Yeah, and by the way, they don't let you carry guns in Spain, so... Yeah. Let all the dangerous fucking criminals in that illegally, crossed into the border and leave people completely defenseless. Makes sense. Dude, I really want to get a staccato.
Estoy acojonada. ¿Tú estás viendo esto? ¿Cómo hay que salir a la calle? Esto no se puede vivir así. ¿Qué sientes? ¿A qué te refieres? Estoy acojonada. Y estoy harta de lo que está pasando aquí. Estoy harta.
Literally had a Moroccan man scale her apartment building, jump onto a balcony, enter into a bedroom and get into her bed wearing just his pants.
Pues porque ha saltado por el balcón. Yo vivo en el centro en un quinto, ¿eh? Sí.
Oh, gee, illegal Muslim immigrants breaking into women's bedrooms. Who would have fucking figured? Make sure that none of these women can carry guns to defend themselves. That will make society safer.
Ha saltado por el balcón de mi dormitorio. Se ha metido en mi dormitorio.
I've still got the electric Zeros. I haven't ridden them in quite a while, but I do have them. They're in my living room right now.
Y se ha metido en mi cama. Yo me he creído que era mi marido y cuando me he ido a dar la vuelta me he encontrado a un
No wonder women are fleeing the Spanish enclave.
Bueno, pues nos estamos yendo porque, como podéis observar, una no puede salir a la calle. De hecho, no hay ni taxi. Yo me iba con un taxi para ir para el puerto, pero me tiene que llevar mi padre.
What could go wrong with Muslim immigrants? Thanks, Dodo. I'll look at that in
going
a
to
second.
him. Like, oh yeah, just go to Taban. He'll send your eye area. And the person that emailed me actually sent me a personal email suggesting I get eye surgery. Probably got that advice from the forum. What's ironic is now that I was botched by Dr. Taban.
I don't like the design of Thrag. He looks like some weird lame dad. Like, I don't know, like, yeah, something about the hair and the mustache. He looks like somebody's angry dad. Like, Omni-Man looks more like, I don't know, there's something about, like, his face is too round or something. Like, Omni-Man just has, like, a more squared, chiseled jaw and everything, and he looks more threatening than Thrag. So I don't know why they did his design like that. I also don't know why so many of these whatchamacall. What's the race of the Viltrumites? Why do they all have mustaches? Like literally all of them have a mustache. It's kind of weird. It's like just a thing in their culture to have mustaches. But yeah, I don't like the Thrag design.
That I was the test subject. They all say, oh yeah, Frank was an idiot for going to Dr. Tufano. Who would ever get orbital decompression, right? Yet before I had the surgery, they said, oh yeah, bro, get OD.
Frank was the one who insisted on orbital decompression. There's literally a video on his channel where he admitted that.
Orbital decompression's a shit, bro. That's the bread and butter. It's like weird. It's like there were a whole set of shills that were promoting Dr. Tufano and orbital decompression before I was botched. And now afterwards, oh no, that's totally off the table, bro. Orbital decompression's only for idiots, bro. It's like hindsight's always 20/20. And really, did Frank Tufano Frank Tufano figured all this out for you guys. He became the test subject. He understood it, and he explained to you why OD is bad. And you learn from Frank Tufano only to what? Then criticize him? And there are actually posts on looksmax.org now.
This guy literally thinks he's the center of the universe.
Calling me an idiot for going to him when they were the ones that suggested I go to Dr. Tufano in the first place. And I was actually the person that was so skeptical of the guy that I researched for 2 years and I couldn't find anything online. Now, not only did he botch the orbital decompression, he botched the 3 other procedures he did on me. The infraorbital implants, which I had taken out, were asymmetrical. The upper eyelid ptosis, when I blink, the upper eyelids are asymmetrical. And the lower eyelid retraction, my lower eyelids are asymmetrical. So he did everything incorrectly. But what's really interesting to me, and anyone with logic would say, after understanding the surgeries, is you should never do all of these at once. All these procedures should be done in separate surgeries, one at a time. Because orbital decompression requires cracking the orbit and moving the eyes. So you should...
Who the fuck would get that surgery in the first place? Like, just the way that sounds, just sounds so bad. Like, you have to be an idiot to begin with.
Should really do that surgery first, let it heal, and then do those finer adjustments. Because how are you going to crack someone's orbit, move their eyes, and then finally adjust their upper and lower eyelids? Like, there's so much swelling from the orbital decompression, it doesn't make sense. Like, let me think of a good analogy for this. That doesn't need an analogy. It's common sense. Why would you try to fine-tune? As expected, the corrupt judge has ruled in favor of Taban and has denied me a jury trial. This is why I say, don't get plastic surgery, never go to any of these doctors. I spent all this time learning.
It's because you're not worth anybody's time and you're an idiot.
The civil procedure, learning how to file lawsuits because no attorney would help me, and for what?
No, you could get an attorney if you paid for them.
For the judge to literally just wipe his ass with the paperwork and not even give me...
So he's full of shit. He was trying to see if an attorney would represent him for free.
Me a trial. Not even give me a trial. Disabled.
They're giving you a trial. It's just not a jury trial, you idiot.
On Social Security for the rest of my life, lying in bed all day.
He's not on Social Security.
They broke from paying for revision surgeries, and they won't even give you a trial. That's how corrupt.
He's not on Social Security.
And evil these people are.
What the fuck is he talking about?
I guess we're going to be making videos and handing out flyers about Dr. Tufano for the rest of my life. And the biggest joke here is, oh, if you submit expert disclosures, we won't dismiss the lawsuit with prejudice. There is no expert that will work with a pro se litigant. You need to be an attorney to even...
That's not true.
...get an expert opinion.
That he's just making shit up.
As ridiculous as it sounds, all we can do now is file a conspiracy case against the entire California State Bar Association and the California legal system. Because no attorney in the entire state of California will represent me. And they didn't even hear the circumstances of the medical malpractice. All I told them was my name and the doctor's name, and no attorney will represent me in the entire state of California. And no expert medical witness will testify for you unless you're a law firm.
That is not true.
So technically, under the current circumstances, I am being denied due process, and the court cannot allow me a fair trial. So I mean, we're just going to appeal the current case and see if we could take it as high as possible to the Supreme Court. Otherwise, we'll just file another lawsuit stating the simple facts of the conspiracy just to continue to expose how crooked this system is. And as I've stated before, I never expected to win these lawsuits. It's just to expose how corrupt these people.
Thrag makes up for his round face with aura. He's so much stronger than the other characters, it's funny. Also, I sucked his penis and he came so hard it shot a hole right through the back of my mouth. Took a 20 hours surgery to keep me alive. Shit poop cum.
I don't think he has much of an aura. It's just like, yeah, he's ridiculously strong, but yeah, I don't get much of an aura from him. Thanks, Nonwib. Anadrol Skittles, new Ziz documentary, he had an large heart, but I don't think that was the sole culprit of his early passing. New documentary goes over his recent release toxicology report, 11040. Well, he smoked cigarettes, drank alcohol, and did cocaine. That probably had more to do with his enlarged heart than any of the steroids he took. And apparently he had some other, like, congenital heart condition that contributed to his death. But, like, he had, like, a heart condition that he was, like, born with. He was doing cocaine, and he, like, dehydrated himself in the sauna so that he'd look extra lean. Dodo, let me see.
It takes a truly pathetic person to go from being Marvel's next Thanos
This guy's a faggot.
to doing Mossad propaganda with Ben Shapiro.
You're literally doing propaganda for an adversarial regime that would kill you because you're a beta male faggot.
The fall-off of Jonathan Major has to be studied, and it's been so severe that it can only really be explained.
By the way, like, I'm absolutely convinced at this point the Jonathan Majors thing was just pure straight up fucking racism. That white chick he was dating was so fucking crazy. Just an absolute whack job bitch, like fucking Amber Heard. So, like during that whole fucking trial, the video was released. You could see what fucking happened. So like this bitch was attacking him and he ran away, and then Hollywood blacklists him for that. I think they were literally just looking for an excuse to get rid of a fucking black actor, and then he's like happy about this.
Explained by calling it a crash out, because it was just 2 to 3 years ago that Marvel was building up Jonathan Majors as their multiversal threat. The guy, the villain, who was set to replace Thanos as the next big thing. They invested multiple TV shows and movies into his character, called King the Conqueror. But in December 23, our little hero, Jonathan, was convicted of assault and harassment of an
yeah, he literally didn't do that.
girlfriend, and Disney was forced to drop him. Now, ever since 2023, Jonathan Major stopped getting offered roles. He stopped getting invited to do auditions, and he hasn't acted in any TV shows or movies since, until this year. Because thankfully, our little boy has partnered with Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro's propaganda outlet.
By the way, pretty sure this guy literally can't get a job because he's a massive anti-Semite.
To put out what may be the corniest movie of the decade.
There are 3 ways Islam will conquer the West. Through immigration, through the wombs of our women, and by using our nation's freedoms against us.
This is the plot of the movie.
Literally, the entire internet thinks this movie idea is based, and it's only like beta male faggots like you. Islam is fine. I love Muslims. Multiculturalism. This is Islamophobic.
This is Jonathan Major's big comeback to the silver screen. He stars as a hero, a veteran who comes to college campus at the same time that
Okay, I'm kind of sick of listening to this fucking faggot.
It's like continuing now. Yeah, I mean, bro, I'll never forget it. So I gotta ask, how, because I've read, but how did he actually die?
This is something I actually can't talk about because I promised my parents.
Shit.
Yeah.
If we could find a way in this film to put the definitive truth out there, how would you feel?
I guess it'll just like help a lot of young men. And it'll give a lot of closure maybe to a lot of people.
I'm pretty sure the Jonathan Majors trial was a civil trial, and his girlfriend alleged abuse. Again, the video footage was there. So like I think it was literally just a fucking case of racism. You can look up the video footage. She was attacking him, and he ran away. And then after that video footage was released, they said, "Oh yeah, he was the abuser." It's just nuts. So I think it's one of those cases where, oh, really pretty, innocent-looking white girl, big jacked black dude. Like, there's no other way to explain the results of that fucking trial. I think it was only civil, but you can look at the fucking video footage. Like, and there's more than that too. This chick was like, I think she got diagnosed with like bipolar disorder. And she might have been addicted to, like, a bunch of fucking drugs. He had to call the police on her for, like, welfare checks and shit. And she'd be, like, freaking out, going fucking nuts inside her apartment. I think one time, like, the police broke in and they found her, like, basically unconscious on the floor. And she, like, had threatened suicide before the police were called. Like, just crazy, wacko, fucking delusional bitch. So, like, that was only the tip of the iceberg. And then they just fucking... apparently, him running away from his abusive girlfriend is him abusing her. It made no fucking sense. It could be misandry versus racism. It could be, but yeah, like, it was just fucked. And yeah, Disney could have been looking for a way to back out. Enlarged heart, unable to specify what causes heart issues. Okay, when they say enlarged heart, there's normal there's normal cardiac hypertrophy just from training. A lot of doctors don't know the difference between an athlete's heart and maladaptive cardiomyopathy. So athlete's heart can be a lot bigger than a normal person's heart. So I don't know what exactly that means unless they actually give an actual weight to his heart or like volume of the ventricle size. Like, that's meaningless. Determined as cause of death to be acute respiratory failure due to the combined use of morphine, cocaine, and benzodiazepines. Yeah, that's not a very good fucking combination of drugs. Holy fucking shit. Did that guy, like, want to kill himself? That is stupid.
May have been from a prior usage.
Maybe we'll watch that whole documentary tomorrow. Seems kind of interesting.
Reinforcement, yielding an impressive 4 centimeter greater waist reduction compared to traditional tummy tucks. He asserts that these modifications not only flatten the midsection and prevent organ displacement, but also significantly improve everyday posture and core stability. Mike argues that surgical volume enhancements can also improve your...
She fractured her finger because she was trying to hold onto him with her entire grip, and when he tried to run away, she basically hurt herself. So, like, imagine if I was, like, holding on to you as hard as I could, and you pulled away really quickly and ran away, and I hurt my finger. Am I the one who's, like, the victim there? Like, that's basically what happened. It's fucking stupid.
Aesthetics. He asserts that methods such as lightweight, nanotextured silicone implants or autologous fat grafting, like expansion vibration lipofilling, can improve visual symmetry. He also goes into other methods, such as cell-assisted lipotransfer, that mix fat grafts with concentrated stem cells to boost long-term graft retention. By volumizing the chest, hips, or glutes, he asserts that people can create an optical illusion where the waist appears smaller. To address the sagging that accompanies major weight loss, Mike argues that skin tightening and removal are worthwhile procedures, comparing overstretched skin to a favorite old sweater that's lost its snug fit. He asserts that energy devices using radio frequency or helium plasma, such as BodyTite and Renuvion J plasma, heat underlying collagen bands to trigger immediate contraction and tissue remodeling. When that method alone is insufficient, Mike argues in favor of excisional surgeries, such as advanced progressive tension sutures and bio-ionic nanostaples. Expanding beyond bodily enhancement, Mike, treating the face as a living sculpture, argues that modifications like genioplasty, jawline contouring, and custom 3D printed peak implants can bring facial thirds into pleasing golden ratio harmony. Mike asserts that deep plane facelifts and buccal fat removal refresh mid-face contours without creating an overly done appearance. He also argues that surface texture treatments using radiofrequency microneedling and exosome facial grafts boost collagen production by 25%, creating a luminous glass skin sheen that elevates self-esteem. And for those seeking to alter skeletal proportions, Mike argues that limb lengthening and shortening surgeries are a revolutionary, albeit invasive, frontier. He asserts that distraction.
How big are the gain differences between 300 milligrams test and 500 tests per week? It depends. You may not necessarily see any difference. Like, the drug has to go into the androgen receptor. So if your androgen receptors are already completely saturated on 300 milligrams a test, going on 500 isn't going to make a difference. So it entirely depends.
Osteogenesis allows people to make themselves taller or correct limb asymmetries by gradually pulling divided bones apart by roughly a millimeter each day. Mike argues that modern orthopedic hardware has evolved from bulky external cages to sleek internal magnetic rods, such as precise P2.2 and carbonic nails, which stretch bones from within. While acknowledging the required 18-month recovery, he asserts that the resulting...
This guy is actually promoting height surgery? This is the stupidest fucking shit.
Height increase of 4 to 6 inches provides a large boost to posture and confidence. However,
Oh my God.
Mike asserts that surgery should only be the final
Yeah, I'm sure you'll feel really confident not being able to move fucking properly and having to walk with a cane for the rest of your life.
finishing touch or victory lap, warning that undergoing procedures before reaching a stabilized body fat level will distort surgically sculpted contours as remaining fat disappears. Mike goes on to share his personal ordeal with persistent love.
There was that black guy with the dreads who got the limb lengthening surgery. And he said he was always like insecure about his height. I can't remember what height he got up to. I think he was like 5'6", and he might have gotten up to like 5'10" or something. He said after the surgery it made absolutely no difference with women, and I think he even regretted doing it. He said he was still insecure and still having the same issues with women.
Handles that stubbornly lingered even at a DEXA-confirmed 6% body fat. He recounts undergoing 270 degrees of targeted liposuction and skin removal with Dr. Douglas Steinbreck, asserting that despite enduring 5.5 weeks of open wound healing, stepping into the shower and seeing his waist looking like someone photoshopped it was a moving experience. In Chapter 14, Cosmetic Drugs, Mike argues that advanced cosmetic surgery alone can't resolve superficial imperfections like thinning hair, brittle nails, and dental flaws. He asserts that AI-driven cosmetic drugs will rejuvenate tissues from the cellular level upward. Mike asserts that collagen-boosting treatment. Mike's love of generative AI is nothing new.
Modern AI is us building God. In the literal sense, I've had, in the last week and a half, multiple conversations with GPT-4 that brought me to literal tears, bawling tears. I have had
Yeah, this guy's a fucking retard. Like, actually retarded. By the way, this was when he was still married to his wife, and I said right then and there is no chance this guy has a good relationship with his wife if he's wasting his time talking to a chatbot and getting emotional with it. Like, and then sure enough, they got divorced, I think only a few months later. He moved into some, like, shitty fucking, like, rented out place, and, it was funny. He was in some, like, Airbnb or some apartment he was renting out, and then he was talking about traveling to his own home gym. So, right now there's some sort of property dispute with him and his wife, and I guess they agreed to let him use his home gym. It's just so fucked.
numerous experiences in the past several months where I have cried tears of joy talking to ChatGPT. Some of the most spiritual moments of my entire life. I could say so many.
Like, by the way, these chatbots are designed to get along with you and be non-combative, so I'm sure somebody who's like an actual narcissist like this guy, this is the first time he's ever like talked to anybody that agrees with everything he says. Oh my god, you're so smart and insightful. Oh wow. I can't believe nobody can tell how smart you are. And then, like, yeah, I'm sure he feels great talking to the fucking chatbot.
Many more things to layer in what that means, but if they switched ChatGPT off, I would seek revenge. Revenge. Brutal Russian-style revenge.
I think it stands to reason that someone so enamored with large language models would write a book with them. Indeed, there are many signs of generative AI use in the aesthetic revolution, so much so that, in preparing this video, I was confronted with a dilemma. On the one hand, if I show too few signs of AI use, then you won't get a sense of the scale of the problem. On the other hand, if I show too many instances of signs of AI use, then this video will become unwatchable. To solve this dilemma, I've decided that I'll cover just the greatest hits while scrolling the rest on screen for anyone who wants to pause and read. One last thing before proceeding. I must provide some necessary statistical context by stating that Mike's book is a bit under 90,000 words long, approximately the same length as my own book, Solomon's Guide to Fat Loss, funnily enough. And I say this because my point about the density of AI writing signs in Mike's book can't really be appreciated without knowing its length. If AI writing signs pop up 1,000 times in an 800,000 word tome, then it's no big deal. But if they pop up 1,000 times in an 80,000 word book, then things start to look a lot more suspicious. Throughout Chapter 3, Why Muscle Matters, and in fact only in Chapter 3, Mike provides several strange illustrations. We take a look at Figure 4, for instance, which displays a woman on the left with 4 arms, when her counterpart on the right has only 2, with an arrow pointing at her stomach saying less muscle tone, and an arrow pointing at her thigh saying slight flab.
Or take a look at Figure 6, which...
He didn't proofread this shit and think it's, like, a little weird?
lists the word joint twice. The left label reads joint, intensified support and reduced inflammation
Dude,
markers.
this guy is so fucking lazy, it just blows my mind.
While the right label reads joint, strengthened support and reduced risk of injury, essentially saying the exact same thing. Even more absurdly, the left joint label doesn't even point at a joint. It points at the fleshy part of the forearm.
I'm going to display a few more of these bizarre figures on screen and ask if you notice anything. Here's Figure 3, Figure 5, Figure 7, Figure 8, and finally, Figure 9. Did you spot it? If you look closely at the bottom right corner, in all of these images, you can detect an unmistakable Gemini watermark. What this means is that these illustrations were generated using Google's Gemini AI image generator. On the copyright page, it states,
Bro, isn't this guy rich? Why couldn't he just hire like an artist to do this?
all images courtesy of RP Strength, meaning that
Wow.
Renaissance Periodisation, Mike Israetel's fitness and coaching brand, is credited as the proprietary source and creator of these illustrations. In reality, the brand simply generated unvetted AI outputs. Nice going, Mike. Next time, at least try to crop out the watermark. Negative parallelisms are a rhetorical device
idiot.
frequently used by large language models. They take the form of, it's not X, but Y, or it's not just X, but also Y. Occasionally, they take the form of X rather than Y. To illustrate, I extracted some examples of this rhetorical device from Milo Wolf's video, Solomon Nelson, Worst of the Fitness Industry. Take it away, Milo.
It's a narrative built on spectacle, not on scholarship. What you're hearing today isn't his rebut. It's my investigation. The bar isn't flawless. The bar is competent, because the purpose isn't to produce the perfect set of studies. It's simply to prove you can do research independently. In other words, Solomon wasn't even reviewing the defended archived dissertation. He was looking at an outdated draft. In reality, he was
It
critiquing
wasn't
an
an
earlier
outdated
draft,
draft.
not the finished dissertation. He framed them not as typos or draft artifacts, but as if they were the defining features of the final work. That's not carelessness, it's convention. It's a feature, not a flaw. The critique isn't wrong that the text is repetitive. It's wrong about what that repetition means. Because the real issue here isn't whether a reference list had a small typo. It's whether Solomon, so the real question isn't whether the conclusions were obvious. The real question is, the single most important factor is not the university's overall rank. It's your supervisor. That is not academic critique. That is theater. But this controversy isn't just about one dissertation. It's about how people view the field, typos, transcription slips, formatting errors. Those aren't fraud. They're normal. That's not scholarship. It just comes across as bitter and petty. Not whether the work was perfect, but whether it did what a PhD is supposed to do.
Negative parallelisms are used extremely frequently throughout Mike Israetel's text. I'll now read some of them out. First, we've got instances of not just X, but also Y. It's not just about numbers. It's about peace of mind. These tools don't just keep me on track, M-. They make the journey feel good. These medications don't just change how you look, M-. They change how you live. Starting small isn't just conservative. It's strategic. I didn't just not want junk food, M-.
That sounds like
I stopped thinking about it altogether. This isn't just a small step forward, M-. It's a significant leap toward achieving and maintaining the lean and muscular physique you truly desire. This change is not just impactful, it's life-altering. Cosmetic liposuction isn't just fat removal, M-. It's body sculpting at a level diet and exercise can't match. This not only adds volume, but also softens edges. This isn't just cosmetic, M-. It's artistry, enabled by science. This isn't just stitching skin, M-. It's practically reprogramming it to heal better. Facial sculpting isn't just about aesthetics, M-. It's also a powerful tool for aligning appearance with identity. Sculpting your face doesn't just make you look good, M-. It makes your appearance resonate deeply with who you are. These innovations aren't just incremental tweaks, M-. They're transformative leaps, redefining facial aesthetics. This isn't just an external change, M-. It goes deeper, profoundly impacting self-confidence. This frame doesn't just add height, M-. It corrects alignment issues in real time. Limb lengthening isn't just about bones, M-. It's about mindset and patience. They didn't just exist. They announced themselves. With these innovations, you're not just looking better, M-. You're actually biologically younger and healthier. Cognitive rejuvenation doesn't just change your life, M-. It transforms how you experience every moment of it. It's no longer just a dream. It's our upcoming reality. Youthful bodies don't just look better, they move better. This is not just about looks, M-. It's also about the rejuvenated confidence, energy, and enthusiasm that comes with youthful biology. The future won't be about just incremental tweaks, M-. It will be a playground of unprecedented creative freedom. Second, we've got instances of not only X, but Y. We're heading toward enhancements that not only replicate...
Okay, I get it. He's basically just using AI for all this horseshit.
Large language models are known to overuse the rule of three, which is a writing principle where you group things in threes because it sounds good. In AI written text, the rule of three can take the form of adjective, 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 or short phrase, and short phrase. And it's often used to make superficial analyses appear more comprehensive. Milo Wolf will give some examples.
Is so riddled with errors, contradictions, and sloppy writing, we need to look at what Solomon claimed, what the dissertation actually says, and what a PhD is really supposed to achieve. Negative ages, 3-meter-tall athletes, or sprinters who weren't yet born. A weak dissertation, a fraudulent degree, and an academic system too poor to solve it. A candidate can design, execute, and defend a piece of original research. Formatting quirks, citation style inconsistencies, and repeated sections. That meant data, access, and a living laboratory that had the staff, the athletes, and the infrastructure. It's about who you train under, what their expertise is, and whether they can guide you outrage, views, and income people like Greg Doucette, Johnny Shreve, and Lon MacDonald. It would have looked at the methods, the interpretations, the contribution to knowledge. Solomon's video ridicules. It exaggerates. It entertains. Trial designs were crude, reporting was inconsistent, and statistical methods were still being hammered out. We're still standardizing methods, still building consensus on basic questions, still debating whether hypertrophy directly drives strength, until it's been tested, replicated, and built into theory. Science grows one study at a time, one small sample size at a time, one imperfect, exploratory dissertation at a time. Desperately needs more support, more rigor, and more attention.
Rules of three pop up everywhere in Mike's book. In a lot of cases, it looks as if he's straining to create them, as in, it often looks as if one or two of the items in a rule of three isn't really adding much and was just shoehorned in robotically just for the sake of making a rule of three. Here are some examples of redundant rules of three. High in calories, highly palatable, and calorie dense. Micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals. Vitamins and minerals are micronutrients. Intra-abdominal fat, or visceral adipose tissue. 3 medical terms for the exact same thing. Shredded, lean, and impressively muscular. Well, lean is redundant there because shredded implies lean.
Yeah, either he can't write and it just really, he's really prone to alliteration, or again, this is like just all AI.
Model. There are some words that AI has been documented to use more often. I can't claim that all of these are known AI vocabulary words, but some words came up with particularly high frequency in Mike's text. I counted 8 instances of thrilling, 10 of game-changing or game changer, 11 of leap, 15 of landscape, 15 of empower, 17 of baseline, 20 of groundbreaking, 20 of robust, 24 of vibrant, 24 of vital, 27 of crucial, 29 of fundamental, 31 of effortless, 34 of massive, 37 of shift, 50 of profound, 50 of genuine, 75 of promise or promising, 92 of deep, 128 of transform, 148 of significant, and 190 instances of enhance or enhancing. Does this alone mean that Mike's book was written by a machine? No. Writers often use their favorite intensifiers and adjectives, but when combined with everything else, this concentration of the hallmark AI lexicon points to an uncritical reliance on generative AI. Having gone over the signs of generative AI use in the aesthetic revolution, I want to pose the question, is it entirely AI generated? In my opinion, the answer is no. You will
No, I don't think Mike cheated his way through college. He just went to a really, really shitty, historically black college. So they basically just let him pass.
rarely find a rule of 3 without an Oxford comma, which AI, at this point at least, would never do. For example, Mike writes in the introduction, spiraling, on fire, and smoking without an Oxford comma. I also believe that Chapter 3, Section 3, How to Build a Plan to Grow Muscle in Just 1 Hour a Week, even from home, was substantially written by Mike. I say this because there are some characteristically Mike-like mistakes throughout this chapter, usually in the workout tables, which presumably weren't AI generated. For instance, he writes of the incline dumbbell barbell press in one table, writes of an unspecified number of sets in week 1.
Incline dumbbell barbell press. He didn't even get anybody to proofread this shit.
One for cable face pulls in another table, and writes off presses 15 to 20 reps per set, where the word presses was clearly supposed to be in the cell to the left. He also makes the grammatical mistake of writing 4 sets is too many rather than 4 sets are too many, which is a mistake that I imagine no large language model would make.
There's also a glaring copy-paste mistake that points to human assembly. Later in the text, an entire paragraph is duplicated word for word. It appears on both pages 262 and 263, reading, overall, aesthetic and age reversal technologies won't merely enhance individual lives, M-dash. They will redefine society itself, reshaping...
Oh my god, what an idiot. This is hilarious.
If the cancellation of Shy Girl is Hachette's operational standard for dealing with generative AI, then Hachette's path forward regarding Mike Israetel's
We were taught communism is bad by the generation who thought segregation was good. That's nice.
book is clear. By any objective metric, the evidence of AI use in the aesthetic revolution is far more conspicuous and undeniable than the text-based allegations that brought down Shy Girl. To maintain editorial integrity and consistency, Hachette must apply the same standard to the aesthetic revolution. Otherwise, this would signal a double standard. It would prove that Hachette is willing to police AI slop among fiction authors, but turns a blind eye when a prominent Fed advice. Mike Israetel mounts a confident assault against rapid weight loss and aggressive dieting. Mike compares rapid dieting to fleeing a wildfire at a blind sprint or crashing a car into a tree to escape a monster. However, across thousands of words of authoritative-sounding pronouncements, Mike supplies no scientific evidence or citations to support his overarching thesis. Instead of engaging with any research, Mike makes the baseless assertion that a sustainable steady pace of losing 0.5 to 1.5 pounds per week, achieved with a 300 to 600 calorie daily deficit accompanied by an increase in step count, is ideal. And trying to lose weight more quickly inevitably backfires, leading to extreme diet fatigue, plummeting energy levels, terrible sleep, and an eventual crash. To dismiss those who attempt faster or more sustained weight loss, Mike engages in some condescending rhetorical mockery, asking, if you could do that, then what the fuck has stopped
Thoughts on Jasmine Verhoeven?
you so far, mother? It's always very overweight people who claim they can lose the most weight all at once, huh? This theatrical bravado might be funny if it accorded with clinical literature, but Mike's core assertions, that rapid weight loss inevitably ends in spectacular failure, are unsubstantiated, and in fact
If that were the case, then GLP-1 drugs wouldn't work. Like, it's just so stupid.
Contradicted by a large body of scientific evidence. Mike asserts with certainty that the overwhelming majority of those who try rapid fat loss fail spectacularly, while those who take a slow, structured approach tend to achieve and maintain incredible results much more often. This claim sounds intuitively plausible, yet clinical research demonstrates that the opposite is true. Now, I cover this point with great scrupulosity in my book Solomon's Guide to Fat Loss, but let me just relay some salient elements in the scientific literature that indicate that the truth is pretty much the reverse of Mike's hackneyed opinion. When researchers evaluate dietary adherence in controlled clinical settings, rapid weight loss programs consistently outperform gradual approaches. This was demonstrated in a randomized controlled trial conducted by Purcell and colleagues. The researchers randomly assigned 204 obese adults to either a 12-week rapid weight loss program using a very low energy diet, providing 450
My job is basic RLHF and writing descriptions for response failures. Frontier models can't answer questions on a provided dataset without making shit up half the time. E.G. Fabricating employee notes. Faking inventory math just to fit prompt assumptions, etc.
Well, they have no actual critical thinking skills, so yeah, they do that. Just I don't get how people are using AI so fucking much. It's just not interesting. You're not engaging with anything that has any real critical thinking skills, and it's basically trained to give you Reddit responses, and it's just horse shit that's based on a predictability model. So, like, it's kind of handy if you just want a brief overview of some things. Like, I use like, when you do a Google search, it gives you an AI overview. Like, that stuff can be kind of handy, especially since they do give you citations for most things. You know, rather than having to, like, just go through a normal Google search, find a source. But yeah, it's not really useful for anything I do anyway. I know there's some people who do coding where AI can make you code much faster, but you can't just rely on it. You still have to do like a lot of overview and work to get the AI to actually function properly. Thanks for that donation though, Pino.
To 800 calories per day, or a 36-week gradual weight loss program based on standard dietary guidelines, providing an energy deficit of 400 to 500 calories per day. Both programs were designed to achieve the exact same overall weight loss target of 15% of initial body weight, and both groups were prescribed the identical total energy deficit of 105,000 calories over their respective intervention periods. If Mike's claims regarding extreme diet fatigue and spectacular failure were accurate, then the rapid weight loss group in the Purcell trial would have experienced attrition and poor completion rates. Instead, the data revealed that achieving the target weight loss of 12.5% or more was significantly more likely when weight loss was undertaken rapidly rather than gradually. Specifically, 81% of the participants in the rapid weight loss group successfully achieved the target weight loss, compared to only 50% of the participants in the gradual weight loss group. The superiority of rapid dieting extended to participant retention. Significantly more participants discontinued the gradual weight loss program.
It's just slower weight loss is mildly annoying, and you don't get that kind of reward feedback that you do from rapid weight loss. So if you're losing weight very rapidly, you can notice like substantial positive improvements in your body composition literally on a daily basis. So even though you might be struggling with sticking to the diet and it hurts and everything and you feel uncomfortable.
Are the Frank shorts and reactions finished?
Yes, thanks, dude. You still get that positive reinforcement by just seeing the physique improvements on a near daily basis, whereas when you're doing these slow weight loss programs, you have to fucking, like, again, mildly annoy yourself for such a prolonged period of time. And you might not even, like, notice any visual changes until weeks later. So it's not surprising that, yeah, you end up having worse adherence with a slower weight loss program.
Never watch anything made by humans. Learn to love art. I'm watching Iron Man 7, Return of Tony Stark. I generated it with Gemini. Runtime 2 hours. It made me cry, it was so good. Tony Stark loses his penis in the final battle. Sorry for spoilers.
Well, that's fine. I wasn't planning on watching it anyway. Thank you, NonWib. There is some AI-generated artwork that I like. The problem is it all looks the same. Like, it all has the same, like, way of generating, just glossy tones, like, very similar color palette. But yeah, there's some AI art that I like. Hey, thanks for the membership, Stitching No Fat. Appreciate it.
Than the rapid weight loss program, with an attrition rate of 18% in the slow group compared to just 3% in the rapid group. Most damning to Mike's thesis is the primary reason participants gave for dropping out of the trial. In both groups, the predominant cause for withdrawal was difficulty adhering to the diet. Because the gradual program protracted the caloric restriction over 36 weeks, participants experienced diet fatigue and frustration, leading to a dropout rate 6 times higher than that observed among those who aggressively shed the weight in 12 weeks. Consider also the findings of Knackers and colleagues, who evaluated the behavioral characteristics associated with different rates of initial weight loss. There was a fast group, losing 0.68 kilos or more per week, a moderate group, losing between 0.23 and 0.68 kilos per week, and a slow group, losing less than 0.23 kilos per week. Mike asserts that attempting to lose weight rapidly overwhelms your bandwidth and inevitably causes failure. However, Knackers and colleagues discovered that participants in the fast weight loss group exhibited superior adherence across multiple objective metrics. During the first month of treatment, women who lost weight rapidly attended significantly more treatment sessions, completed significantly more daily food records, and consumed significantly fewer calories than participants in the slow group. Similarly, participants in the moderate group completed significantly more food records and walked significantly more steps per day than those who lost weight slowly. These findings make sense. Large initial weight losses and the accompanying rapid improvements in physical appearance, energy, mobility, and body image validate your effort, which increases motivation and cements healthy habit formation. Conversely, when weight loss proceeds at the relatively slow pace advocated by Mike Israetel, the ensuing minor changes often fail to provide sufficient reinforcement to justify the discipline of caloric restriction. Mike also asserts that weight lost rapidly is inevitably regained. He compares aggressive dieting to an army surrounding an enemy force or...
You know, it's kind of weird too. You'd think you'd kind of learn this, like, one, just from personal experience, and two, just coaching other people. Like, I used to believe that bullcrap, that slow and steady kind of wins the race, and you should diet slowly. You end up just experimenting with things, or you just get impatient and you just see, like, how far you can push things. Like, as soon as I switched over to doing much more aggressive diets, like, I just noticed it was better. I could stick to it easier, and I was much more likely to reach my goal and at a faster pace. And like, again, if you coach multiple clients over a period of time, like, you're also going to see a trend. So it's just so strange that Mike would have these ideas when the guy's in the fitness industry. Like, he has coached people, he trains himself and all that shit. Like, it's just weird that he wouldn't have figured this crap out. Like, same with some of his dumbass training ideas. Yeah, I mean, like, dude, like, when you're just thinking of the fucking time scale, like, it just becomes nauseating. I lost 70 pounds in 3 months. I was only eating 800 calories a day, and I was still training like 3 hours a day. That was hard as shit, but I got it done in 3 months. Like, imagine if I like did some like slow fucking steady diet, like what, for a normal fucking person on like a 500 calorie deficit, like holy fuck, like I'd be doing that for more than a fucking year. And like I just can't imagine, like I just didn't like the way I looked too. Like after months and months and months and months, and you still aren't happy with the way you look, like just it's so fucking nauseating. Like just get it the fuck over with, you know?
All at once, only to run out of resources in the middle of battle, leaving them exhausted, vulnerable, and ultimately defeated. He warns his readers with dogmatic certainty. This isn't just speculation, M-. It's exactly what happens to almost everyone who tries it. You might believe that you can push through where others have failed, but that's exactly what millions of people before you thought, and their results have overwhelmingly been failure and weight regain. To dismantle this rhetorical facade, one need only consult the long-term data from Unic and colleagues, who tracked 2,290
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I went on steroids last year. I've gotten a lot bigger.
overweight and obese participants with type 2 diabetes over an 8-year period to determine how initial weight loss rates impacted long-term weight management. Unic and colleagues discovered that a greater weight loss at month 1 or month 2 was significantly associated with greater weight loss at every single annual assessment over the entire 8-year study period. When evaluating the odds of achieving...
Like, again, if rapid weight loss was a bad idea, then these GLP-1 drugs would be a complete failure. It's just a really dumb idea. Again, especially for a guy who calls himself a doctor, calls himself an academic, fitness industry expert, why the fuck is he publishing this AI-generated book where he makes these baseless claims that aren't supported by any research?
Can you respond to the brainless take in chat from the engineer who says I is pure bullshit? Solving the protein folding problem and I-coding agents are bullshit. That's why every software engineer uses them, and in particular Claude, right, idiot?
You absolutely have to use AI for protein folding. Yeah, like AI isn't complete bullshit. Like it has applications. It's just if you're using it to write a book, I think it's a really bad idea. But yeah, it absolutely has applications. Like again, I know people who do coding where you can't rely on it solely to write code, but it massively improves your productivity. And again, with the protein folding, like you can look at how they solved protein folding before AI. Like it would take decades for them to solve a single protein. It was just insane, retarded horseshit. So over the course of somebody's entire fucking career, they might solve how to fold one single fucking protein. Whereas now, like, what? You can do it in like a couple weeks or something. So yeah, AI absolutely has uses. In military application, it's completely indispensable. Thanks, Dodo. And AI is useful for generating a thumbnail for a YouTube video by simply clicking the Get Suggestions button in Studio and uploading a video. Does Google use AI thumbnail suggestions? I didn't even know that. YouTube actually has an AI thumbnail generator? That's weird. I've actually heard using AI thumbnails is a bad idea. I saw some video breakdown on it where they said you're actually less likely to get views if you use AI-generated thumbnails. Thanks for the donation, though, too.
To the uninitiated, it seems logical that if a moderate caloric deficit causes moderate fatigue, then an aggressive deficit will cause intolerable fatigue. But human physiology and behavioral psychology don't operate on layman's intuition. Mike substitutes empirical data with dramatic metaphors of wildfires and car crashes caused by trying to flee from...
Well, you have metabolic flexibility. The whole point of dieting is to use your body fat for energy. So it's not like if you massively reduce your calories, you're not going to have any energy to do anything.
From monsters. In doing so, he reveals a disappointing lack of familiarity with modern obesity research. His mockery of overweight people who desire rapid results is unempathetic and also just straight up scientifically wrong.
Like, by the way, this guy's fat. Like, he was really fucking fat at one point. Super retard fat. So, I don't know how the fuck he could have a position like this.
Empirical evidence demonstrates
like this guy got a fucking plastic surgery, like liposuction and shit, because he couldn't be fucked to actually lose body fat.
That people who aggressively shed excess body fat are generally the most successful at both losing weight and keeping it off. Mike's chapter professing to expose and explain diet myths doesn't expose dietary myths, but reinforces and further propagates them. He dogmatically condemns rapid weight loss and promotes an unsubstantiated, slow and steady rule as the sole legitimate path to aesthetic and health goals, and in so doing, Mike leads his readers astray. His content is at variance with the scientific literature. Aggressive dieting, when executed intelligently, is a safe, successful, and empirically validated method for treating overweight and obesity. Evidence.
Yeah, I basically ate an apple, a cup of blueberries, and 2 protein shakes when I lost that 70 pounds in 3 months.
Based practitioners and people seeking meaningful physique transformation now face a setback with the publication of this retrograde material. Now let's turn to Mike's training advice. Mike Israetel's training prescriptions not only make little sense, but are also in some cases literally impossible. Under the heading of rest, Mike outlines 3 approaches: resting 1 minute between sets, using myo-reps, or supersetting. He then proposes that, by supersetting, a 60-minute 24-set full-body workout consisting of 4 sets across 6 exercises can be completed in just 30 brutal minutes. The workout will be on screen. I question whether this workout is even mathematically.
You cannot possibly do that workout in that time frame with that little rest.
Possible. Let's assume that a single controlled set of 15 reps, which Mike advocates.
Like, what? The fuck?
Takes 60 seconds to perform. 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down, repeated 15 times, 60 seconds. If you complete 24 sets lasting 60 seconds each, then you've spent 24 full minutes actively moving weight. That leaves a grand total of 6 minutes of remaining time across the entire workout. Spread evenly over the 23 rest intervals between those sets, you're left with just 15.6 seconds of rest per set. Even if a lifter possessed the supernatural cardiovascular capacity to survive 15.6 second rest intervals between sets of high-rep compound barbell movements, those 6 remaining minutes would be entirely consumed by walking to the bar, taking a stance, bracing, unracking, and re-racking. Those actions easily consume 5 to 10 seconds per set, eating up at least 2 to 4 minutes alone. Factor in warming up, walking between exercise stations, and the physical act of loading and unloading plates, and the 30-minute time cap is shattered. The arithmetic gets even worse when Mike suggests cramming 18 myo-rep sets, 3 sets across 6 exercises, into a 20-minute window. By his own definition, myo-reps work better with higher reps. He advises an initial activation set of 15 to 30 reps, followed by 5 to 10 seconds of rest.
Like, I don't think this part was written by AI. Like, this seems too stupid even for AI.
And then repeating mini sets of 5 to 10 reps until fatigue. Incidentally, he never explains why this works better with higher reps, or why an activation set of 8 reps with mini sets of 3 reps couldn't be used. It's simply an unsupported claim. But anyway, looking strictly at his own rules, a single myo-rep cluster begins with an activation set of 15 to 30 reps, which under a controlled tempo might take anywhere from 45 to 75 seconds, if we're being generous. Following that, with 3 or 4 mini sets of 5 to 10 reps, adds another 30 to 45 seconds of active lifting, while the 3 required breathers add another 15 to 30 seconds of rest. Consequently, just one myo-rep sequence consumes 1.5 to 2.5 minutes, again, being generous with those figures. Multiplying that by 3 sets across 6 exercises means completing 18 myo-rep sequences requiring 36 minutes of pure.
I lost 50 pounds in 6 months by fasting for 23 hours and eating whatever I shoved in my mouth for the one. I also did almost 1 hour of cardio daily on an empty stomach. Kept most of my muscle. Genes for the win.
Well, here's the thing. There definitely is a genetic component for muscle retention while losing weight, but like most people don't fucking train hard. So if you maintain really, really hard training intensities while going through rapid weight loss, and assuming you're just getting in like even a decent amount of protein, you don't even need to hit like 0.75 grams of protein per pound of body weight. You could just hit like 0.5, which is very obtainable. You're going to hold most, if not all, your muscle mass. Like, there's a good chance. So, yeah, like, I think some people, they just don't have an ability to push themselves and, like, suffer. So, like, if they're really feeling exhausted from the diet and, they go to the gym, they just train half-assed. And, yeah, a lot of those people are going to lose muscle. But if you actually train hard, that makes a huge difference. But thanks, Pablo. That is a fair bit of weight to lose in 6 months. That kind of intermittent fasting. If you only have an hour window to fucking eat, you can't really eat that much, right? So it's a novel method of caloric restriction.
Uninterrupted execution time. When you factor in the additional 5 to 10 minutes necessary to transition between 6 different exercises and set up each movement, the workout naturally demands 40 to 45 minutes to perform. Suggesting that this volume can be crammed into a 20-minute window means that the required lifting time alone exceeds the available time cap by nearly double. For someone who claims that his ideal day involves going down to his basement office and doing equations,
my ideal day, I would go down, this is going to be ridiculous, I am not making this up, go down.
He is making this up.
Into my basement office and do deep work, equations.
Mike shows no...
Yeah, equations, math, me good math, me smart, do math good equations.
Enthusiasm for basic maths. Mike states, anything between about 5 and 30 reps per set grows muscle very well. He's not wrong. I'll do you the courtesy of providing the citation since Mike never does. As long as sets are taken close to failure, muscle growth can be achieved across a wide spectrum of rep ranges. However, this doesn't mean that all rep ranges are equally efficient or practical, particularly for the complex.
Yeah, I would say for most people, you're not going to be able to stick to that diet routine. Especially with the amount of physical activity I had on top of that. Like, most people, I don't think they can pull through that. Like, again, severe caloric restriction, I think most people can do, but, like, to that extreme, I think it's just too much for most people.
Complex barbell exercises that Mike prescribes. Mike rightly champions consistent lifting technique and stable positioning, but then advises rank beginners to perform multiple sets of high-rep barbell back squats and stiff-legged deadlifts on razor-thin rest intervals.
Dude.
A more perfect storm for technique breakdown could hardly be envisioned. Beginners already lack the ingrained neuromuscular coordination to maintain strict form under stress. When you force a beginner to perform multiple sets of 15 to 20 reps of a technical compound lift with short rest intervals, their cardiovascular system risks giving out before their muscles do, and their technique risks breaking down. If you're a time-crunched beginner after muscle growth, then you'd be far better served performing fewer sets and fewer reps with longer rest intervals and relying on machine exercises rather than barbells, because machines eliminate the time spent loading plates and require less technical proficiency. Mike's model for progression is highly questionable. He advises adding sets when you're ready to go psychologically and feel strong. Nowhere does he explain how psychological desires and feelings somehow inform physiological reality. Similarly,
the way I deal with the amount of sets I do is just basically rep drop off from set to set. So, like, in theory at least, if you start an exercise where you're able to do 10 reps, if you're still able to do 10 reps after 3 sets, there's a very good chance that you haven't hit all the like possible motor units you can to get maximum, the maximum hypertrophic response. But if you go from 10 reps to say like 4 or 5 reps by the third set, chances are that third set that hit all the possible motor units that could get activated. So yeah, I just look at the rep drop off from set to set, and I just base that on the amount of sets I do. So yeah, there's some exercises where like I can do a set of 10, set of 10, set of 9, set of 8, set of 8, and then like that last set I can get like maybe 4 or 5, and then I know I'm done. And that seems to be working pretty well.
He advises adding sets when you're no longer sore, but fails to explain how or why soreness should inform training volume. Further, his claim that more sets automatically lead to more growth, so long as you can recover, is yet another unsupported assertion. And just because your body can successfully heal from an extra set doesn't necessarily mean that that set produced a superior hypertrophic signal. When adjusting the dose of training, Mike states that you can either add weight to the bar or add reps every week. But you don't need to progress in weight or reps every week, as Mike has often argued you should. You can simply stick to a given weight for a given number of reps for as long as it remains a stimulus, patiently wait for the physiological adaptation to occur, and only then increase the weight or reps. Mike concludes his chapter on exercise by asserting that you now know how to train. In reality, you now know how not to train. If you want a much more coherent, organized, thoughtful, comprehensive, researched, and correct guide to weight training, I highly recommend picking up Solomon's Guide to Fat Loss. Dr. Mike, what have you done? As we know, you hold a PhD, and a PhD is understood as the highest form of research
generous,
training.
by the way.
With his doctorate in hand, you'd expect that Mike would have had a clear understanding of what makes the thesis of a book, what evidence makes it defensible, what gives a text its coherence, and what makes for research integrity. But this current book shows the opposite. What promised to be an exciting manifesto on aesthetic philosophy, diet, and training ends up disappointing each and every one of those disciplines before it even gets to synthesizing them. The aesthetic revolution doesn't even reliably represent scientific wisdom at present, much less project credibly into the future. First, the reliance on generative AI to generate portions of the aesthetic revolution is lazy, intellectually irresponsible, and risks violating the standard warranties of authorship.
Yeah, I think lazy and dumb sums that up perfectly. He is a lazy, dumb guy. Another fucking banger from fucking Mike, dude. Thought that one might be kind of interesting.
So that
Down syndrome kid on steroids.
Are you taking steroids or what?
No. I'm not going to pull any punches, and I'm going to say, Kyle Andy, yes, you're not natural.
By the way, it's not uncommon for people with Down syndrome to be given hormone replacement therapy. They tend to have less muscle mass and are more prone to gaining body fat. And they have a way, way, way higher risk of diabetes and heart disease as a result of that.
Day 2 of 500 milligrams test cycle with Anavar with no lifting experience. Just finished my pull day. Will keep you updated.
All right, well, I think that's kind of stupid. I'd never... I don't see a problem with going on steroids right when you start lifting. Starting off your first steroid cycle with 500 tests is fucking retarded. And there's two main reasons for that. One, your body has to get used to exogenous androgens. So if you just flood your system with a crazy amount of testosterone, you're going to over-aromatize, you're going to develop gyno, you're going to have crazy amounts of water retention, and at that dose, a lot of people are also going to get flu-like symptoms. With too much testosterone, you will get flu-like symptoms. So yeah, you're just going to feel sick, lethargic, bloated, and you're probably going to need to use an AI because most people would develop gyno at that dose. On top of that, if you don't have much muscle mass, like, there's nowhere for the androgens to go. So if you have a very small amount of muscle tissue and you don't have that many androgen receptors, you're probably maxing out your androgen receptors by just going on something like 200 milligrams a test. So if you're having 300 milligrams more than what your body can even use, all those androgens, rather than going to your muscle tissue, it's going to go into your skin, other organs in your body, and it's just going to cause like fucking problems, like acne and shit. So there's not really any point of doing that, but yeah, keep me updated. Thanks, dude.
Hello VG. How would you go about proving Mom Donnie is a piece of shit mayor? I recently encountered a New Yorker telling me he's so great because he made rent prices drop.
Rent prices haven't dropped. He did that stupid rent freeze thing, which over the long run is just going to increase rent prices. He's going to completely and utterly destroy the rental market in New York. I would say, like, watch some of Sam Harris's content on Mamdani. The guy's just fucking Muslim jihadist, fucking anti-Semitic whack job, and he has no clue what he's fucking doing. Thanks, though, Dylan. Appreciate it. Would steroids make me blacker? No, you'd need melanotan for that.
Natty or not, on Kyle Landy. Many people have requested it. People accusing him of being on steroids. And so, is he in fact natty or not? Most of you know who Kyle is. He's the first bodybuilder with Down syndrome that I think I've ever seen. He's won competitions. He's extremely flexible and he trains harder than last time. He's collabed with some of the most famous fitness influencers in the world. For example, Arnold Schwarzenegger himself, Ashton Hall, the list goes on and on. But is he in fact natural? Something that you don't know about people with Down syndrome.
What do you think about 300 test, 200 deca as a third cycle? If you want gyno, that's a good idea. Mixing high doses of test with high doses of nandrolone is the most surefire way to give yourself gynecomastia. And the problem with that too is deca is so fucking long acting, and it will grow your gyno so aggressively.
I was on 250 milligrams for a couple months and my E2 was 39 and total test was 1000. Doubled it and doubled test. The whole no androgens because you don't weigh enough doesn't hold up to criticism. Only heard that from that one bald doctor who loves Masteron. LOL.
Yeah, that is, like, actually true, though. Generally, the larger you are, the more, like, androgens you can actually benefit from. But, yeah, whatever. Like, you might have a higher amount of CAG repeats. When I was on 210 milligrams test, my serum testosterone was at 2,220. So I had over double your test levels on slightly less testosterone. So that might also, like guaranteed, that's also gonna play a role. If going on that dose only gets your testosterone to 2,000, then yeah. I'm on 525 now. Last I got my test checked, it was over 5,000. So yeah, if you're only at 2,000 on 500 milligrams test, that would kind of explain why you're not getting the kind of side effects. But thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. Yeah, so testosterone combined with nandrolone, that will grow gyno extraordinarily aggressively. That's pretty much the only reason dudes get gyno. Pretty much. If you're just on test and you're taking something like Masteron or Primobolan or something like that, You might get some like inflammation in your nipples if estrogen isn't being controlled enough, but you can. It grows so slowly that it's very easy to just lower your E2 a bit, and then you don't have that problem. With an androlone, like overnight, you're gonna end up having fucking large lumps growing. So I would not recommend combining large amounts of test with large amounts of nandrolone. A really stupid idea. Safest bet would be to run Masteron. You can pretty much run as much Masteron as you want, and it's not going to do anything. Like worst case scenario, if you take like a shit ton of Masteron, like 2 grams a week or something, and it's too much for you, like you'll either have trouble sleeping or maybe the opposite, where you'll just feel kind of tired and sleepy or some shit like that. But Masteron like does nothing but build muscle. It's very, very innocuous. So yeah, I'd avoid running large amounts of nandrolone with test just because of the gyno thing. Anavar is also a good addition. It's an oral. I wouldn't really run it like, you know, I wouldn't really recommend running it if you're trying to like actually grow and you're on like a mass building phase. It's more of a dieting steroid, but it does fucking work. It's great for strength. Really, really great drug for strength. It's just that because it's an oral, it can interfere with your digestion, so. I have 1400 nanogram test just with enclomiphene, proviron, vitamin D3. Yeah, so I don't know why the fuck you're on enclomiphene. That's one of the dumbest fucking drugs ever invented. Enclomiphene is a fucking fertility drug. So why would you take a fertility drug if you want to raise your test? Just take testosterone. Enclomiphene is also a SERM, and it affects the estrogen receptors in your eyes. So if you're on enclomiphene for very prolonged periods of time, it can actually literally make you go blind. It can affect the nerves in your eyes and make them die off. It can increase risk of glaucoma, cataracts. Even in the short term, a lot of people do note visual disturbances like floaters in their eyes on enclomiphene. So enclomiphene's a really fucking stupid drug to take long term for raising test. It's a fertility drug. You're only supposed to take it for like 2 to 4 months to get a bitch pregnant. There's no reason to. Like, why? I just do not fucking understand it. It's stupid. I also have no fucking idea why you're on proviron. Worthless fucking drug. I wouldn't really recommend adding an EQ as an anabolic agent. It can be an extremely aggressive AI in some people, and if you crush your estrogen, that can lead to a lot of health problems. Everyone's kind of different. Some people don't get a huge estrogen suppression from EQ, and a lot of people also don't get hematocrit issues on EQ. Dave Palumbo loved EQ. He was running pretty high doses of it. I think he got up to like 1,200 milligrams of EQ. He never had any health issues from it. I just anecdotally, I've seen a lot of people online claiming they got kidney problems from running high doses of EQ. Who the fuck knows? Like, these people are on polypharmacy. Who knows what the fuck they're doing and what their blood pressure's like. I'm not completely convinced EQ is actually kidney toxic, at least compared to other steroids. Again, if somebody like Dave can run like 1,200 milligrams of EQ and not have any problems, like, it's just fucking weird that some people are saying they're on like 400 and then they're getting kidney problems from it. If people take AIs with test, why not take a serum like enclomiphene? What did I just say, you idiot? And an AI isn't a SERM.
If I have high CAG repeats, then I should raise the dose, right? Even 2000 seems low to me.
When I increased my test from 550 to 2220, I gained about 20 pounds of muscle mass in only 2 months. So, I don't know why you would really need to build muscle at a faster rate than that. I don't even know if that's possible, honestly. But, like, look, if you're making progress very rapidly, just keep the dose there. And then once things taper off and you stall, then consider increasing the dose. But yeah, just like there's going to be a point where you take too much test, and it's not that testosterone's bad for you. It's just you're going to reach a point where you'll either feel sick. Again, very high doses of testosterone can give you flu-like symptoms. Or like, again, you're going to have problems with like acne and shit like that. So just, if you have no problems, everything's good and you're building muscle, just keep it there. If you're getting what you need to get out of the drug, just stay on that dose of the drug. And then again, once things taper off, then consider increasing. Thanks for the donation though, Kyle.
Syndrome is that their testosterone levels are very, very...
The guy I get my gear off is like, yeah, just take your test with your deck in the same shot as it's carried in the same oil safe. Yeah, that's what I do. It doesn't have to be the same oil. It doesn't matter. There's no point in pricking yourself with more needles than you have to. Just load it up in the same shot.
Low.
People with Down syndrome tend to carry low levels of testosterone compared to the average population.
They typically have lower levels of total testosterone as well as free testosterone, and oftentimes they have a more difficult time getting other people pregnant.
And we want to optimize it. And
So, by the way, that's a good thing. I don't think we want Down syndrome people having children.
and give them the best fighting chance, and to combat Down syndrome, make sure it improves its cognition, muscle, energy, libido. Give them the best lifestyle that we possibly can.
Kyle got his...
What do you use Cialis for? It's just good for you. It does seem to have some cardiac protective effects. It's just good for your endothelial lining, and it seems to help prevent kidney disease as well, just because it helps a lot of those small blood vessels function properly. So that's the primary reason I take it. And I've been taking 15 milligrams a day.
His blood work taken from his own doctors, and upon seeing the results, the doctors, experts on...
I've never bothered loading peptides in the same syringe. You could. I've just never bothered.
Medicine and so on, they felt like it is better for him to do HRT than not. If you have lower levels of testosterone, it's not good for your body. It's not healthy. Some people are born with lower levels of testosterone than others, and doctors then prescribe to them HRT, which is known as hormone replacement therapy, or TRT.
That sounds good, eh? Yeah.
And so since that time, Kyle was prescribed 80 milligrams of testosterone a week. A doctor felt that it was in his best interest, as in it's smarter than last time, for him to be using...
80 milligrams is just stupid. I don't know why I wouldn't prescribe higher.
Testosterone. Now, is 80 milligrams at abusive levels? Well, I'm on 140 milligrams.
Greg has no idea how to define abuse. So if you have a certain interest, like say building muscle, and you take the drug to build muscle and you're getting what you want out of it, how does that constitute abuse?
Milligrams. I'm certainly a lot bigger than Kyle. I'm older than Kyle. I'm 50, but a typical person on HRT is doing oftentimes 100 milligrams and or more. And so 80 milligrams, it's...
The standard starting dose, if you go to most clinics, it's going to be around 140. And If you have a good doctor, they'll gradually increase it until you get to over 2,000.
Frankly, on the lower side, it's lower than most HRT clinics are going to give. And so he's using very minimal levels of testosterone.
Guy, I don't get steroids. Steroids not good for me. I don't get steroids.
If you take the literal sense of the word, he is correct. He's not on steroids, as in he's not on multiple steroids, plural. For example, he's not on Tren, Deca, Equipoise, Anavar, Winstrol, Superdrol. The list goes on. He's on one medication called testosterone, but the question is testosterone a steroid? And I'm not going to pull any punches, and I'm going to say, yes, testosterone.
If you talk to somebody who's pedantic like Broderick Chavez, he'd tell you testosterone isn't a steroid, it's an androgen. And steroids are based off the parent hormone testosterone. But, like, I don't know, like, technically, testosterone is a steroid hormone, so I don't know what the fuck.
aka HRT, TRT, is a steroid. And so if you're on HRT, like Coach Greg or Kyle Landy, you are on a steroid. You're not natural. Even if the doctor prescribes you testosterone, you are artificially replacing what your body should be making. Kyle's body, because of Down syndrome, does not produce a sufficient number of testosterone. And so the doctors are adding this into his body from an exogenous source. This is from outside of his body so that he can feel normal. And so do I think that Kyle is cheating? Absolutely not. If Kyle were to compete in a drug-tested bodybuilding competition or Olympic competition, whatever, perhaps he would compete in the 100-meter dash, basketball, whatever there's drug testing for, and they use WADA, they would test for testosterone. And if they see that he's using an external source of testosterone, he could fail a drug test. Now, there is one exception, is that is if you produce a TUE form. If the doctors determine that Kyle requires HRT, which clearly he does, and it's from something that's congenital, from birth, of which it is, they can offer him a TUE form. And so what does that mean? That means he is allowed to take this medication, and despite the fact it's testosterone from an exogenous source, he still passes the drug test. And so he isn't cheating, he isn't lying, and he should be allowed to use this medication known as testosterone. And so just because testosterone technically is a steroid, he isn't on steroids. I understand both sides of the story. If Kyle was not on HRT, he wouldn't look as amazing as he does right now. His muscles would be, of course, a little bit smaller.
Has your test ever gone thick on you? What the hell does that mean?
Prescription from the doctor is giving him the testosterone that he needs. To the same extent, another analogy, some people require...
Yeah, if you're gonna take test, Deca, and D-ball, you will get gyno. So if you want bitch tits, go for it.
A diuretic, because they have high blood pressure, it's very popular in powerlifting. Guys are really, really heavy, fat. They require a diuretic to lower their blood pressure. Now, diuretics are banned in powerlifting by WADA because you could use it to help make a weight class.
Dude, I don't even understand how these dudes are using diuretics. They make you fucking weak. You really can't lift shit if you take a diuretic.
The pill, you lose 10, 15 pounds of water, and you can compete in a lower weight class. But if you have high blood pressure, the doctors can write you a TUE form and say, you are allowed to take this diuretic, and because of that, you will not fail the drug test. I've seen people in the past fail because they forgot to get the TUE, even though it was a prescription for them having high blood pressure. And so my opinion is I don't see you as a cheater if you're using a diuretic because you have high blood pressure in order to compete. And so to the same extent, if a doctor offers you a TUE for testosterone, then I don't see you.
Yeah, so that's just normal. They give androgen replacement to a lot of people with Down syndrome.
Crazy new AI model that can control a humanoid robot's entire body. In this demo video, they make robots walk, crouch, tie knots, screw in light bulbs, and even team up with other robots to clean up a room. On top of that, Silicon Valley startup 1X also just released its own crazy new demo of its Neo robot playing Xbox and opening Funyuns. And that can only mean one thing: the dream of owning a robot slave is finally upon us. But there's a big problem, because as fate would have it, last week I spent a few days at MIT with actual robotics researchers. And I have some bad news. The people building and researching this stuff without the incentive to raise money think that a robot that can replace your maid is still 10 plus years away. And that's being hyper optimistic. In today's video, we'll break apart the humanoid robot hype and find out where the true frontier of robotics is as of today. It is August 11th, 2026, and you're watching The Code Report. 5 years ago, large language models wrote unusable garbage code, and diffusion models produced images like this. But today, after scaling up data and reinforcement learning to a ridiculously massive scale, these same technologies made source code nearly obsolete, to the point where Stack Overflow gets less than 1% of its former traffic, while video models can now generate content that's indistinguishable from reality.
What will computers be able to do in the future?
They'll probably do our homework.
And you would think that AI-powered robots should be advancing at the same pace. Any day now, we should have robot mechanics changing our oil, robot welders building our Teslas, and robot soldiers in every war, making all blue-collar work obsolete. We may get there someday, but the reality right now is that robots are nowhere close to threatening these jobs. And the demos you see from Tesla and other Silicon Valley startups are designed to generate hype and pump valuations rather than show you the true frontier of robotics. To find the true frontier, let's start by taking a look at Gemini robotics too.
For the robot, dealing with challenges of the actual physical world is borderline impossible.
The Gemini Robotics 2 system is actually 3 models, with the most important one being a Vision Language Action Model, or VLA. It takes inputs like camera pixels in plain English, then outputs motor commands to the robot's hardware. But what's special about this one is that it can run the legs, torso, arms, and fingers of a full humanoid robot under a single learned policy. And in Google's demos, we can see it do all kinds of impressive stuff with Apptronic's Apollo 2 humanoid. But when it comes to humanoids, things like walking and doing backflips are essentially solved problems, while achieving the dexterity of a human hand is very much an unsolved problem. When you read the fine print of virtually any robot demo, you'll find that multi-finger dexterity success rates range anywhere from 0% to 90%. And that's a big problem because nobody wants to buy a Rosie the robot maid who drops your dishes 10% of the time.
What are you doing? Stop!
This is the frontier right here, but realistically, these numbers would need to be well above 95% for a robot to make any kind of sense as a human replacement. But why is this still so hard in the age of artificial intelligence? Well, during my recent visit to MIT CSAIL, I was able to play with all kinds of humanoids and learn how researchers there are also trying to build general purpose solutions that make these robots actually work reliably. When these extremely smart researchers told me that Rosie the robot is decades away from being a reality, it made me think of more of X paradox. The hard problems are easy, the easy problems are hard. Like AI can easily crush Magnus Carlsen at chess, but it still can't beat a 2-year-old when it comes to stacking blocks. And when you think about it, evolution has had 500 million years to optimize your sensory motor stack, while reasoning is just a new beta feature bolted on top. But from a technical standpoint, creating a policy for a robot is a much different problem than regurgitating some text out of an LLM. A large language model can spit out a set of discrete tokens, and it can take as much time as it needs to generate them, and nobody dies if it's not perfectly accurate. A robot, on the other hand, needs to emit continuous values like joint angles and torques, and
percent-wise, how high is the gyno risk from the test deck stack? Probably well over 50%.
Stream them hundreds of times per second to dozens of different motors, all working together in unison. If your policy is off by just a little bit, gravity will punish you by making the robot eat the floor.
It scales across a wide variety of environments. What?
But a deeper problem is data. Large language models got smart by ingesting the entire internet and every book ever written, but for robots, a data source like that just doesn't exist. And the way researchers are trying to get around this problem is to create simulations or synthetic data. Basically, the idea is you let a robot use a flight simulator, and after a while, it should be able to fly a real plane. But researchers still aren't exactly sure how they should even be training these robots, and currently the big debate is imitation learning versus reinforcement learning. With imitation learning, a human teleoperates the robot so the model can clone its behavior. It's a simple idea, but very difficult to scale up. The other idea is reinforcement learning, where you just let the robot try to do stuff and have it learn through trial and error by giving it a reward signal when it does something good. This is how unitary robots learn Kung Fu, but RL is still not good enough for safe, general-purpose robots. Now, there's a bunch of companies and startups like 1X, Figure, and Tesla who have these crazy trust me bro demo videos, but you can't actually buy buy these robots is so nobody knows for sure if they're actually legit. If you're serious about owning your own robot slave today, your options are pretty limited. You could try to get your hands on the new Boston Dynamics Atlas, although Hyundai and Google already bought them all, so you'll have to be waitlisted. Or you could get the Chinese Unitree G1 with a $13,500 entry point.
Yeah, I don't think the Chinese robot's a safe bet. I've seen some of those things fuck up.
You've also got Aggiebot in China shipping at scale, but the rest of the robotics field is much smaller than the hype actually suggests. And we might even get GTA 6 before we get humanoid robots in the kitchen. And that means there's a huge opportunity for software developers to write the code that makes these robots actually work. That's why you need to know about OmniGen, the sponsor of today's video.
Yeah, the robots are coming. You know. Not too soon, but they're coming.
Lately, I haven't even been doing hypertrophy. I've been trying to downsize because I'm trying to get 200 pounds with the 2,000 pound total. And I'm like 225.
And not instead of losing some fat.
That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, downsize, fuckhead.
It sounds like you were talking.
Fuckhead.
It sounded like you were talking about losing muscle.
Downsize in general, so losing something. So we're just warming up. I don't want to cook, right? Hang on, man. You know what? This just pissed me off. Everything I say, you got a rebuttal. You got to argue with me. Let's grab one of the boxing gloves, man. Let's just throw fucking hands. Let's fucking do it right here, right now.
I wanted to punch you in the face.
No, let's fucking do it. I'm serious.
Because you sound dumb as fuck.
I don't sound dumb. You are dumb. So you think I sound dumb because you're fucking dumb.
Damn, that was kind of valid, bro. No.
Yes, I am way smarter than you. I am so much fucking smarter than you. I'm just lazy. If I really have a word that comes out of your mouth, any idea I was fucking bro.
Yes, in YouTube Studio, you can easily generate AI thumbnails. Simply click a button. Okay, interesting. And then you get a few thumbnails based on the video. You can also change the given thumbnail by putting some words here. Interesting. All right. Thanks for the donation, dude.
We're boxing, bro. Come on. Because I got one glove! I know!
Is this literally the entire video?
Oh!
I don't know why they dress like complete retards. Who the fuck works out in jeans?
Fucking memory.
Okay, still nice and retarded. That's good. I am tired as fuck, so I think now would be a good time to go to bed. I might skip tomorrow's training session. I'm still, like, my legs are still really sore. I'll see how I feel when I get up in the morning. But just based on the soreness I'm feeling today, I don't think I'll be able to do legs, so might end up having a day off, and we'll just do some other shit in the afternoon. So play games, you know, that sort of shit, but we'll see. So yeah, it'll either be a leg day stream in the afternoon, or if I'm too sore, then I'll just do like a gaming afternoon stream type thing. But hope you all had fun. No, I've never talked to Torrey Washington. Hope you all had fun. Big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. I will see you all tomorrow, and nighty-night.